sending out the signals for the Baltimore Colts. Unitas gives to Amici. The Colts are the world champions. Amici scores.
It's amazing, sensational, dramatic, heart-rending, exciting, thrilling finish in the history of college football. California won the big game. 5 seconds left in the game. Do you believe in miracles? Yes!
This is Phil Steele.
This is Mike Burnham.
This is Wes Durham.
This is Mike Ashley.
Hi, this is Chuck Foreman, number 44 of the Minnesota Vikings.
Woo, mercy, this is handsome Jimmy Vane, the Boogie Woogie Man.
This is Coach Fry with Virginia Tech football, and you are listening to Big Dog Sports Talk.
Are you ready to rock? Are you ready to roll? Okay, let's do it.
You're in the doghouse with Rick Watson on Big Dog Sports Talk, presented by Pulaski County Sports and Entertainment. Join us in the Family Fencing Studios and chime in on the McClellan Chiropractic chat line. He's keeping cool with help from Little River Heating and Air, but this show is straight fire. And now, the big dog, Rick Watson.
Rick Watson's got the mic, he's the big dog king. Cover sports so sharp, it's a new river thing. Virginia Tech fire, rapid pride too. Every stat, every play, he's bringing it to you. He's got that voice, deep as a valley, breaking it down, no dilly, no dally. Big dog sports talk, feel the bark, feel the bite. Rick's in the zone, every day, every night, from the Hokies to the Highlanders. He's got the spark, Big dog sports talk, lighten up the dark. He's got the scoop, faster than a sprint. Calling plays like a coach, every word's a hint. From the courts to the fields, the stories unfold. Rick's play-by-play, worth its weight in gold. With a laugh and a growl, he'll pull you in. Big Dog's podcast, let the games begin. Big Dog Sports Talk, feel the bark, feel the bite. Rick's in the zone, every day, every night, from the Hokies to the Highlanders. He's got the spark, Big Dog Sports Talk, lighten up the dark. Sports Talk, feel the bark, feel the bite. Rick's in the zone.
Hey, good morning. How are you? It's Thursday here on the program. Hope you're well, wherever you might be. Hit us up in the McClellan Chiropractic chat room, as many of you do, and also on the Professional Incorporated text line. I'm parched. Broadcasting live from our Family Fencing Studios here on a Thursday. Good morning, Prometheus. David Smith joins us at 6:30. We're going to talk National Football League, the AFC West, with the best NFL analyst on the planet. Andy Bitter at 7:15 from Tech Sideline, and Dwight Vick. And you and me here on a glorious Thursday. Nice weather day, right? 83, sunshine. Felt good yesterday. Some rain this weekend, maybe. What's up, Reaper? Good morning. Please subscribe. Cecil, how are you? Not going to try 2010. Not very good speller anyway. So congratulations to Toby Lowell, who we talked about yesterday. How great was that? We gave you the inside where we're J.D. Byers. And, we said we kind of had a hunch when J.D. told us that Mike Young was going to New York, maybe they had a little heads up, but he went, I think, number 48 to Dallas. Congratulations to Toby. That's awesome. I like that name, 2010. Please subscribe. So Toby Lowell's in the league, and there was too much there for the league to ignore, and I think it's great, and I think he's going to be a guy that's going to play for a while. Keon broke it down yesterday, and it's good to see his trajectory get rewarded with a selection. So that was awesome. I reached out to Coach Byers, and he said it's been a wild afternoon, and I guess things really started to pick up. But how rewarding is that? And, and it's good for Tech. It puts their name out there on the draft list. And Mike Young, it's a feather in his cap. He's got a guy that's drafted. I mean, it's good. It's good all the way around. And I think he's going to be a guy that's going to have some nuance in the league for a while. Because his trajectory has always gotten better as he's gone along, right? He went from BCU, he earned his way up to Power League opportunity, and now here he is. So good for Toby. Good for Toby. I'm glad he was able to knock that out yesterday. Cecil, steak is my favorite food. Ribeye steak in particular, medium rare. We got that question a lot this week, right? A whole lot this week. Family Fencing, sponsor of our studios. It sure isn't seaweed salad. 540-200-8294, familyfencingnrv.com. Reach out to get a free quote today. McClellan Chiropractic. I mentioned Mark Hundley, 155 Walters Drive. And reach out to him today. Make your back feel much better than it does. We're presented each and every day by Pulaski County Sports Entertainment. Thanks to Jonathan and Tim. Little River Heating and Air, 1095 Radford Street in Christiansburg, 540-553-2971. Reach out to Charles Lee. Get your units checked today. Ryan Price, the attorney in Radford, 701 West Main Street, Trust and Estate Planning. Our BDST fan question of the week right now being won by England. Who's going to win the World Cup? National Bank member FDIC, the exclusive banking partner of me and this program. Professional Door Incorporated, as I mentioned, sponsor of our text line. Travis Williams going to start year number 40 in business in July. We're going to have some really cool information for you regarding that. ReadySetFund.com. Bob Christ, BOBCRST11 at Gmail. It's a way if you have a series of text messages that you can earn money for your school group, organization, sports team, church group, whatever it might be. Sundown Electric, the Smith Brothers down in Elliston, one of the best reputations of any local business around, 5-star reviews all the way around, superior craftsmanship, low cost, attention to detail, and lots of communication. Of course, we're doing our bash. We're official on July the 18th. The bash at the NRV Super Bowl, 540-382-5525. Reach out to Terry and Amanda. Don't forget this weekend is their backpack program starting at 10 a.m. Get over there and support the kids in the area. It's a great, great program giving back to the community. Lawson's Mobile Home Supply is located at 300 North Franklin Street in Christiansburg. And James been doing it since 1997, 381-8011. Parts for your home, windows, whatever it might be. He's the best, the absolute best. From a psychologist forecasting point of view, let's say Franklin has a win too few. Will A.D. White have the authority or balls to give James a tough review? BDST is live and howling. The answer to your question is no, he will not. Well, since I don't know who Darren Watkins is, Dwight Schrute is going to be the number one choice there. Courage. Oh, I left that rolling, didn't I? Let me get that off there. Sorry. Yeah, Tech had their presser yesterday with the new athletic director, Brian White. We'll talk to AB about his vibe regarding that. Is now they have their man. Sorry. And we'll see how it all plays out. Yes, we will. Almost every day. Correct. Well, that's one of the reasons Prometheus. White has zero authority regarding James Franklin or the football program, which I think is interesting. Knowledge is a great weapon, but is also very, very, very trouble. Be sure to check out my article tomorrow in The Patriot, by the way. A little pub there for Mike Williams publication, which I contribute. I contribute very little, but I do put a column out every Friday. And talking about the conundrum we have with the American athlete. You think about where we are today in sports. Remember when American athletes used to be the influence of the world? Do we have one today? We talked about this earlier this week. Do we have one American athlete that's influencing the world as opposed to the world athlete influencing American sports? Now, one of the things I like about, used to like about baseball before, we see where it's evolved in terms of its lack of leadership. But I like the international feel. I like having the world's best players, come in. I like having a guy like Shohei Ohtani. I like all the Latin talent. It's kind of evolved into a world's game over many decades, and that's cool. But remember when the American athlete used to set the standard for how sports went in the world? We talked about this earlier. Now, I don't see it anywhere, to be honest. What's up, Zeno? My favorite baseball player of all time is Tony Gwynn, Anthony Keith Gwynn, who is no longer with us. God rest his soul. Best pure hitter I've ever seen in the 3 spot for my beloved San Diego Padres. One of the nicest men I've ever met. Had the complete and utter honor to interview him twice, once in person, once via the phone. He was everything that you thought he was when you saw him talk about hitting, about sports, about baseball, about life. And he is greatly missed. What's up, Shrija? Shrija? Sorry, trying. Be sure to subscribe, all the new folks here. Michael Jackson is forever the king of pop, correct. I never did see the movie. I wouldn't mind seeing it. At this point, I'm probably just going to wait for it to come out somewhere. All right. Happy birthday, Dixon. Not going to say the other part because I know what you're doing there, Shariza. I don't know the Olive Tree song. No idea what the hell that is. But I thought about it. We talked about, I think Aaron Judge is probably the American baseball player, but Mike Trout was going to be that guy, but he kept getting hurt year after year after year. Couldn't stay healthy. You think about the NFL, and I write about this too. So Roger Goodell each and every year is selling out the American fan, adding more international games, right? But I don't believe that there's any real attempt for this to be a cultural impact thing. I think what obviously Goodell's doing, his main job is to make the already billionaire wealthy owners more zeros. So he's trying to tap in to the international market, obviously to crack into more money, whether that's merch, tickets, TV rights, whatever it might be, advertising, international advertising. So, but I don't think the NFL player has much of a cultural impact on the international, whatever country they're playing in. Oh, it's great to see all the folks wearing jerseys when they're in the stadium watching a game. And I know there's American football fans all over the world. But I don't think it's Patrick Mahomes is not a long-lasting impact. I'm trying to think of who else it would be in the NFL. Who has been the face of the league? It's been Patrick Mahomes. Does he have any kind of cultural impact on the world? He doesn't. But does Messi in the World Cup, does he have? Yeah. The top 5 players in the NBA are all international. Think about where we went with Michael Jordan, and finally he was so awesome and so undeniably the most marketed athlete in the world's history to that point in the early 90s that they finally got the International Olympic Committee to say, okay, America, we're going to quit punishing you now. You can employ your NBA players in Barcelona in 1992. Thus, we had the Dream Team. And then the world took our model, and the reason, I'd give 2 reasons in the article. I won't spoil them, not both of them. But one being the world studied our model via Jordan, David Stern, and the NBA at that time, took it to all their levels of basketball, wherever they might be, created all these sub-leagues, their version of AAU, junior league developmental programs, whatever, and perfected it even better than we have since the Jordan era, which is why you see this influx of international talent every year in the NBA, and now you have the top 5 guys in the league all from somewhere else. Right? What up, Amir? How are you? Welcome. Please subscribe. So I'll write about that this week. It's interesting. And we just had the U.S. Open in golf. Barely a whimper. Scotty Scheffler is the best player in the American scene, right? But is he an international star or is he just a regional star? Rory McIlroy was voted the world's most popular golfer. Thank you, Amir. I appreciate that. You're welcome anytime. Yeah, LeBron is a global icon, correct. I don't know so much about. I don't know. That's a good one to bring up for me because that's a good discussion about Steph Curry. LeBron, no doubt. That's faded a lot in recent years. with him, but that impact is there. It's nowhere near the Jordan impact worldwide, but in its heyday. But yeah, it's there. Yeah. But I never thought I'd see a day where the top 5 players in the NBA were, international. I mean, that's where we are. And it's fine. It's just an interesting observation that you make. But American football I don't think you have shrines to American football players in these other countries. I just don't. Football is the sport of the world, not American football. Dwayne, I agree. LeBron is, but I don't know about Steph. Maybe. I'm just trying to think about it now in real time. Who are the 5 NBA players, Terry asked on our Fresh Door text line? Well, all right. Well, let's go through it. Wemby. SGA, who's won the last 2 MVPs. He's from Toronto. He grew up in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. Giannis just got traded to Miami. He's still considered a top 5 player in the league. That's why the Heat gave up so much for him. Nikola Jokic and Luka Doncic. There's not one American player that's going to, be above those guys, right? So there's your 5 right there. So I don't know. But it's interesting. And I think it's been good for the league. I think now we see the international players come in with the old mindset of the NBA that we grew up with. Right? Maybe Anthony Edwards. Yeah, maybe. Current guy, young guy. Yeah, maybe. I mean, I like him. He's cool. He's got a great mindset. He does. But we'll see. We'll see if somebody develops out of this draft. I don't know. Maybe the next one's on the horizon we just don't know about yet. But I'm happy for Toby Lawal. I do know that. Very happy for him. Well, maybe low country, but, the whole Chinese NBA relationship's a little sketchy, to be honest. Yeah, that's true. For me, I think you're right on it, right? If he wants to reach that, let's just say it the way it is, he needs to get out of Minnesota. That's probably true. That Timberwolves gear is not necessarily something that worldwide they're looking at. Last 8 MVPs have all been international. Thanks, Coach Elmo. Wow, there you go. Ring-a-ding-ding. The last 8 NBA MVPs have been international. Wow. It sums it up and falls in line with where I wrote about this week. So check it out tomorrow in the Patriot. Good stuff. David Smith going to come up. We're going to talk about the AFC West. Will he be nice to my Broncos? I think that division, it's going to be exciting in the future. The Raiders have a lot of sub-stories this year that make them very interesting, and Fernando Mendoza being the main one. I'm excited about that. just to see his development, how they handle it. I'm thinking Kirk Cousins may start, or maybe Kirk Cousins sign, goes, you know what, I'll just be the mentor, man. I'm good. We'll see how they play it. Either way, I think they picked the perfect guy. Love it. I'm going to hate it in the long run if Mendoza develops the way I think he is, because he's going to be a tough guy to handle. The Raiders will be tough. But everybody else has the franchise quarterback, we think. I know that the Chiefs do, clearly. I think Mahomes is going to be, once he gets healthy, he'll bounce back. It's, he's not going to just all of a sudden disappear. I don't know about Bo. I hope Bo. I hope. But the team lost its identity when he got hurt in the at the end of the divisional game against Buffalo. And Justin Herbert is a world of potential. He's just kind of sitting there a lot like Josh Allen. When's all that going to happen? Like, when's all that going to happen? But the division's going to be really strong. Really, really strong. And now I think you have every team in that division with good head coaching leadership. Yeah, LeBron hasn't won the MVP in 15 years. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, I just got to put that whole thing just needs to be. Let's just stop. What was the stat? I had it. I think I reposted it. Let's see here. I can't remember how long it was. There was a post about Jordan that I put up, or that I reposted. And, here you go. Michael Jordan. Okay. So only 4 times in NBA history has a player led the league in scoring, won the MVP, led the playoffs in scoring, won playoff MVP, and was first team all defense. It's happened 4 times in NBA history, and it was all accomplished by just one guy. 4 times by one guy. That would be Michael Jordan. So let's just stop. Let's just stop. Andy Bitter and Dwight Vick a little bit later on. Joining us now on the program, there he is, David Smith, Radford Hall of Famer, NFL analyst supreme. What's up, brother? Good morning.
Good morning to you. How are we today?
We're good. Thursday, we're meandering along. Nice weather. It may, as you get older, and you and I are all about the weather this time of year anyway, right? So isn't it amazing that it does? You grow up, you hear your dad maybe say, "Well, it's gonna rain." The weather. Well, now you understand why the weather does kind of make your day a certain mindset, doesn't it?
It changes everything. It changes everything. And of course, Rick, you and I are the summer fans that we are.
Yeah.
You probably are saddened like me, or maybe you're not the nerd I am, that realizes that summer solstice was Sunday, which technically means the days will start to get shorter. Thus, the calendar is starting to already shift to that dreaded winter way down the road. Now, listen, we got a lot of heat left and a lot of warm weather left, but I'm just a warm weather fan. You can't give me enough daylight in the day, and I know it's going to be hot, and those things are rough, but I just think back to February and March and some of that January ice.
No.
I'm no fan of any of that, but yeah, it's funny. I think you're right on it though. It's how much I pay attention to weather now. It's kind of stupid.
I know, me too.
It's just I do it all the time. So we're very fortunate. Our daughter works in television, And so each morning we turn it on, and I'm as interested in her buddy Andrew as her. I'm thinking to myself, Andrew, am I going to be able to get outside? Man, what's it going to do? I don't know what happened to us. What in the world?
What are we doing? What are we doing?
What has happened to us?
It's funny. I'm the same way. It's funny.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what's going to happen in the AFC West. I've been waiting on this one from you, my friend, because I might have just a little bit of a rooting interest in this division.
A little bit, yeah. So to say you're all in with both feet and your children's feet, you're putting everybody's feet in this one, right? So I tell you what, Rick, it's so funny when I was looking at some of this stuff. Again, maybe it's just me and the sign of my age, but I tend to go look back on what the season was to kind of see, because sometimes you see a record and you say, man, that was terrible. And a lot of times the record reflects what you weren't. And then a lot of times you kind of go, man, it was just a couple misses here or there, and the team might have been a certain kind of way. But the fact that we do this on a regular basis, we're not going to be off by so much. But, of course, we'll start your division off with the team that got a lot of attention in it all season, the Raiders, right? So Mendoza, number 1 overall pick, Tom Brady's choice, the whole bit. Shout out the Raiders. Here they come, coming off of a 3-14 season, right? They hitch their wagon to Geno, and you and I know
Yeah.
Geno, good Geno, bad Geno, and the fortunes of your team will rise and fall with him. The year before in Seattle, they had Geno, but you know what's interesting about that, Rick, is I'm not sure enough people pushed back on taking Geno with the Raiders because of the success that he had with Seattle.
Yeah.
So doesn't it feel like at times he can kind of woo you or wow you into thinking, I think he'll be a solid enough guy. And you know what's also funny is I'm sure Geno fits financially pretty well to be able to go to a lot of these teams. So it fits our numbers. It fits our pricing pretty well. Well, how was it last year, 3-14? Not very, very good, right? Not very, very good. And then you look at the Raiders. They opened the season. Again, some of these things are so odd. They play at New England, and they beat New England the first game of the season last year. Just think about that. They go and they win that game 20-13, opening week of the season. It's a long season. But you start thinking about these things. There's so little inventory in the NFL. When you start messing around and losing games early or winning games early, it can tip the balance of it because you only get 16 more shots of that thing, right? And it's not like baseball, which you can lose series. I mean, I've seen teams 9 games out with 2 months left to play, and you're thinking they're not worried. All you got to do is win a series, another team lose a series, and you're right back in it.
Right back in it.
So much to do. We see it in baseball all the time. Even in the NBA, a 6-month season of 82 games. Hey, man, these dog days, the doldrums of January, and boy, you get hot around March. All of a sudden, you can get back in it. Football, you might get one mulligan or two, but you're not going to get an opportunity to play yourself back into it. And for the Raiders, after they won that game, they went right out and lost 5 straight. They went out and lost 5 straight right after that, losing to the Chargers, the Commanders, the Bears, the Colts before they came back and beat the Titans. And then they lose to the Chiefs 31-0. So if you think about the Raiders, Rick, right now, I think there's a whole lot of chatter about who's going to be the starting quarterback. Now, Fernando Mendoza is the number 1 pick, but I heard you say recently on the show, too, you think they may go with Kirk Cousins. You think they may just say, let's temper expectations. And I feel this way about the quarterback position, too, especially a new young quarterback. I think that it's probably important to not put him out there first.
That's kind of what I'm thinking. Yeah.
Because you can kind of ease him into it. But also, if it goes bad and he's out there first and then Kirk Cousins doesn't go well, then you're back to a guy that you don't have a lot of confidence in that you kind of have to then figure it out.
Exactly. Yeah.
Versus if it goes the other way where Kirk Cousins starts and Mendoza gets out there and it's like, man, these bullets are flying faster than I knew. You go back to Kirk Cousins, and even if it doesn't go well, you at least got a veteran in there that can calm the forces. It's kind of how a lot of people see that thing going. Now, you can go back to Troy Aikman and Peyton Manning. Guess what they did with them? They threw them out there, and they got their head beat in. Troy Aikman had a 1-15 season. Peyton Manning had a 3-13 season. I think Peyton Manning threw over 20-some interceptions.
First year, yeah.
First year. And they were horrible. Now, again, they said, we're going to ride or die with you. There is no other plan. You're playing 1, 2, 3, A, B, C, whatever you want to call it. And they rolled with them. I don't think they treat it that way now. These quarterbacks cost way too much money.
Yeah.
And so I think they're going to be easy with that. They do have Ashton Genty. That's a solid running back. They took him, I think, number 6 overall last year, pretty high for a running back. Brock Bowers is an absolute fantastic cushion boy, tight end. He is great. He had a lot of injuries last year. Tyler Lindenbaum, the center, I speak about him a lot. He's going to anchor that line. He's going to be he and Mendoza are going to be there if the Raiders do it right. They paid him the most of any center, so he's not going anywhere for a while.
No.
He's going to be there, and they're going to be able to ride together with that thing. It's so important. It's not talked about nearly enough, the symmetry between quarterback and center. So I feel
100%.
really good about them. I think that's going to be great. I'm not sure about their weapons though, Rick. When I look at look at this depth chart, I see Jalen Naylor, I see Jack Beth, I see Trey Tucker. Those names of receivers scare anybody.
Yeah, no.
They don't scare anybody. So you figure defense, if it's not scaring us, they're not going to scare the league. So you figure they're going to probably do their best to make them run the football, right? Because they can probably don't feel like they got to do anything special in the back end. And so that's going to limit them a little bit too, which is probably another reason why I think they might have to go with Kirk Cousins until these guys develop or prove us wrong.
Sure.
At that particular point, you can feel okay with what they're going to be looking to do. The defensive side of the ball, there's the Max Crosby of it all, formerly of the Ravens. No, not the Ravens. Now you're a Raider. So which R-A-M-I, Raider. So you're back with them like, oh, never mind. That was a mistake. And
do over.
And so now we're back. And so, okay, let's take the number 1 quarterback. And now I'm going to play with a chip on my shoulder. Max Crosby would play bingo with a chip on his shoulder. So it's not like he needs a whole lot anyway. So it's going to be real interesting to see how that all settles into things. And so, and of course, at 3-14, there's nowhere to go but up for the Raiders. I think that this is going to take some time for them. I don't see them breaking through into the top 1 or 2 in your division. But I think it's going to be real interesting to see what I do think is going to happen with them, though, because I think they're tired of being at the bottom. I think they're going to play hard. I think they're going to be a team that's going to be solid enough that you can't sleep on them. When I look back at the season, Rick, they played you guys twice last year. Tough. It's 10-7. I looked at this, and 24-17 in both of the games last year. That's limping around. So again, you think about some of the games that they lost. I was telling you earlier, records are one thing, but dive deeper into it. They lose to a playoff-bound Jacksonville team by 1. You guys were 14-3. They lose to you by 3 and by 7, and they lose to Houston by 2. Those are all playoff teams that they played pretty well. And again, so and they beat New England the first game of the year. They only lose to the Chargers by 11. So Bears by 1. And so you start thinking about that. You start recognizing that there's some pieces in there. But I think for Rick, these things they're going to have to play the long game with the Raiders. I think they're going to have some growing pains. But I do think it's going to start with Kirk Cousins at quarterback. I'd be a little surprised if it's not that.
Well, and I go back to I'll say it was either John Madden, Bill Parcells, or maybe both said, when you think you've drafted your franchise quarterback and your team's really bad, all you're trying to do is develop that quarterback. If you can develop him into the guy for the next year and beyond, you've had a successful season. If you get some wins along the way, that's great. But Clint Kubiak's the perfect guy, in my opinion, to come in here now. He's got his guy. He's going to know exactly how to handle it. I think Kirk Cousins is going to know exactly how to handle it. And that seems to me to be the same mindset that they've invoked here. Whoever, I think it was Parcells.
Might have been him.
Let's get our franchise quarterback progressing in the right direction. Then we'll go out and we'll see about trying to win some football games. So I think they're approaching it the right way, regardless of what the record looks like. If that happens at the end of the year, then you and I are next year going, boy, Fernando Mendoza really looked apart. They're going to be like a totally different franchise in 2027.
100% right. And the most important thing, Rick, too, with the salaries that they pay these guys now, I think that also somewhat factors into it. I know the rookies are on different deals, but you know he's the golden child, and yeah, I know he's going to want to be there. But I think tread lightly on this one, go easy, and of course, knowing us, we'll be totally wrong. They'll put him in there from the start,
day one,
and he'll start slinging it, and they'll be 9-8, and we'll go, "Yep, we told you."
We were all over, baby.
Yeah, just like we said. 100%.
All right, roll along now. Who you got next to get a look at here in the AFC West?
The LA Chargers. The Jim Harbaugh LA Chargers. All he does is have successful football teams. It doesn't matter what they were before he came. Even with all the carnage he left at Michigan. And boy, did he leave a lot of carnage at Michigan, right? Steps into the league at the Chargers. They're 11-6 last year, Rick, a playoff team. But I think that folks are starting to. This is, I think, year 3 now for him, if I'm not mistaken. If not 4, I think it's year 3. I think they're going to kind of start to say, all right, it's nice that we are 11-6. It's nice we've got this Justin Herbert guy at quarterback. But, bruh, we need more than this. I mean, and now Denver did it. You know, they brought Peyton in and they got rid of Russell Wilson. They drafted a rookie quarterback. We've got this stud quarterback. We keep hearing how great our quarterback is. And Rick, as it stands right now, it has not yet been anything other than first round kind of exits.
Yep. Right.
It's what it's been. Now, I, for one, think they've got the right guy at quarterback. He just hasn't played right enough. Right. Is he a force multiplier quarterback? Is he the guy that you can put everything on? The other component of it is Harbaugh is fantastic at developing great offensive linemen and playing a physical way of football.
Yes.
That's what he wants to do. Have we seen enough of that? Well, he's got Amarion Hampton at running back. He's got Justin Herbert at quarterback. He's got pieces around him. He's got Tyler Biadasz at center. He got Joe Alt at center. Now, he did have injuries right out of the gate on the offensive line last year. So the strategy and the mission and their formula was somewhat compromised because they had a bunch of injuries. In the NFL, you're going to have them. And yet they ended up 11-6. So for me, I don't see it quite like everybody else sees it. Kind of like people were talking about the Steelers and, man, you know, winning record, what does that mean? I say to yourself, keep getting the winning record. You'll kick the door in. Others are like, well, blow the whole thing up and we'll see. And I'm like, it seems like to me, if you're that close, what can make it further? I don't know that you have to strip it down to the studs everywhere. Now, Miami, you had to strip it down to the studs because you weren't making progress. You didn't have a winning record, you know.
Right.
But if you're the Chargers, I don't think that they're panicking at all. You know, now, here's the deal. Now, Justin Herbert's your starting quarterback. Your backup quarterback is Trey Lance. Now, the Trey Lance experiment, it didn't work for Shanahan at all. And Shanahan is the guy who pretty much, I mean, he took Mr. Irrelevant and he made him the starting quarterback of a team that went to the Super Bowl. So if he couldn't get Trey, that tells you all you need to know about how far away Trey Lance must be. I mean, he was there, he goes to Dallas, and now he's backing up the Chargers. So you probably are concerned about what that situation looks like. I'm concerned about making sure Justin Herbert can stay upright. That football team was 11-6 last year. I mean, they lose to the Giants. They lose to Miami last year. Some really bad losses for a team that was in the hunt there. You think about it, your guys win the division, win that by 3 games over the Chargers. And they had those couple bad losses there. And in fact, they beat the Chiefs, but they lose to Houston down the stretch. And of course, you all beat them in the final game of the season, 19-3, to put a bow on your season. So at that particular point, it probably was already, if I can't recall, it may have even been resting starters in that game. But I think you probably had it already buttoned up. But nonetheless, and then they go and they play in the playoff game and they go to New England and they lose 16-3. So season kind of ends with a whimper. They were 11-6. To me, I think they've got a defense that's got some really good names. Khalil Mack is still playing football. He was the number 5 overall pick in the draft in 2014 when the Raiders were in Oakland. And so they're now in 2014 doesn't sound like a long time. It doesn't sound like an old car when you're driving a car. I got a 2014. When you talk about football players,
Raiders it is,
it probably means you're entering year 12 or 13, and they've got guys that they got. Derwin James, I think they re-signed him. He's an all-pro safety. He will knock you out. They've got guys on that end of the football that can do well. I just feel like it's a combination of things with them, Rick, around their division, which is not easy. Right. This year, you all will be playing the NFC. I think you'll be playing NFC East, if I'm not mistaken. I think you've got the East. If I'm not mistaken, I think you do. That may have been last year that you had the East. I believe it was
last year.
Last year you had the East. Yeah. So to me, when I think about, I think you might have the South this year. I think it was the South this year. Yep. I think it's the South. So if you look at it on the surface, a lot of people would say, of the 4, who would you rather play? You say that, but Rick, you and I know.
I know.
There's no free lunch in this league. I mean, going to Tampa or go to Carolina or Atlanta or New Orleans, you would think, hey, I've got a September game in New Orleans on the schedule. You know, in June we'll say
easy
win, and then you get down there and it's the third quarter and you're down 17-7, and who that nation's screaming and you can't get the call from the sideline. And that's in your case, I hope it's not in New Orleans, because that's a Sean Payton kind of go home game. So you hope that's not the case, so you have all that going. As far as the Chargers goes, you're building off an 11-6 season. I think for me, the main thing is I just think Justin Herbert's got to start elevating his play. We got to start talking about him as one of the elite quarterbacks in the league and showing that he's one of the elite quarterbacks in the league. And I think for the Chargers, it's going to be real important for them to get off to a real good start, Rick, because I don't, and they don't have a home field advantage at all. I mean, Rick, they play.
No, they don't. They don't.
Rick, it just makes no sense.
It's never made any sense.
Makes no sense. They're up in SoFi, and they go up there, and the opposing team just takes the building over. It takes it over, and they open the season against Arizona and against Vegas. Both games are at home, if you want to call it home. So they have a chance to start out great, but then they've got to go to Buffalo, and then they got to go to Seattle. Then they play you all, Denver, and then they play the Chiefs before their bye week. So right out the gate, they got a couple layups at the beginning, but the 4 games after that are against playoff teams. Well, usually Chiefs wasn't in it last year. So they'll enter their bye week with 6 games. We're going to know real quick where they are too, because that sample size is going to be strong enough to figure out what's going on. And you get a bye that early, a bye around October 18th, you still got the November, December slog of no breaks. And so I'm looking forward to seeing if Harbaugh can get that running game going. That's going to be the key to them. Are they going to be healthy enough up front to play the way he wants to play?
All right, 2 down, 2 to go. Who you looking at now here as we roll along in the AFC West?
Your boys, the Kansas City Chiefs, your nemesis.
The nemesis.
The 3-time champion, the 5-time Super Bowl appearing Kansas City Chiefs, if my math is right. And so, everything rides and dies with Patrick Mahomes. And everything we've been seeing, Rick, has him out on the field. They're still saying they think he's going to be a full participant in training camp. It's coming off of an ACL that I believe was in, I think it was like December. I think it was a December ACL. If you're talking about starting a football game in September, that's a 9-month recovery. That's a 9-month recovery.
I can't imagine. Yeah, that's kind of weird. That's fast. That seems fast.
And I don't know as much about ACLs as those guys. Clearly,
I don't either.
I just remember. I remember Jerry Rice a million years ago. He had one, and then he came back. He came back too soon. Jerry Rice worked out harder than anybody on the planet, and he tore that knee up again.
I know.
You have some of that. I know Adrian Peterson he's a total freak show, total outlier. I know he hurt his, and he came back early.
Terrell Davis. It ended his career.
He just never, and Denver's fortunes changed with all that. It changed. Yeah. He got his 2, and I'll never forget, he was chasing down an interception, Terrell
against
Davis,
the Jets.
Of all things. He's chasing it down, and I think it was one of his own guys. I think it was Friendly Fire that kind of hurt his knee because he kind of plowed into his knee as they were making a doggone tackle. And so if you're Mahomes, now listen, Andy Reid and those guys, they got world-class physicians in the whole bit. I'm just saying, a lot of people have hurt their ACL in a non-contact sport, and you're sitting there and you're wondering how in the world he's going to come back from it. But everything's going to rise and fall with them. They've got Justin Fields. Justin Fields are kind of like Trey Lance, but not. There's Justin Fields, who everyone is continuing to see the skill set and wonder how he's going to be. Rick, I think he's going to have to play for them early this year. I really do. I think they're going to have some packages for him, especially early on, because I just don't know that Mahomes will be ready. Now, he'll prove us all wrong. I think they're going to throw him out there. They're going to have a set of stuff for him that's going to protect him. But we're going to see. Now, the Kenneth Walker of it all is going to be real key. Again, Seattle.
Yeah.
They weren't going to keep him. So, and it won't be any surprise here. You got Kenneth Walker. They're going to have to be real clever about how to get him to football, because I think people are going to really feel like Mahomes is going to be limited anyway. You best believe one thing. If we know he's got a 9-month ACL recovery, those bad boys on the other side are going to know. They're going to test his mobility right out the gate. That league is non-compromising that way, Rick. They are non-compromising that way. And then you've got the receivers that can't stay out of trouble. You got Rashee Rice, who's finally got himself back on the street again. I think he's okay. Will the league suspend him after this? You got Xavier Worthy. So those are the guys. Travis Kelce, fresh off of a wedding that'll happen sometime this summer. Well, he's trying to come back for one more dance. I think they didn't like the way the season ended at 6-11. But interestingly enough, so folks don't forget, it wasn't like the Chiefs were playing great before Mahomes got hurt. In fact, when I was looking at this, the game he got hurt in that they lost. I think they lost to the Chargers in that game. They were 6-8 at that particular point. They just lost down the stretch. So they were on the fence about getting into playoffs anyway, Rick. And their losses, again, they were to playoff teams: the Chargers by 6, the Eagles by 3, Jacksonville by 3, Buffalo by 7, Denver by 3, Dallas by 3, Houston by 10, even though Dallas didn't make the playoffs, and then the Chargers by 3. So they, again, I know close only matters in horseshoes, right? but again, if you're looking for a reason, if you're the Chiefs fan, to feel like that you're not far off, you can say to yourself, we did not play good football at all last year. And teams only beat us mostly by 1 score, whether we were home or away. But the Chiefs' dominance part of it is in question. And so you start thinking about what they got to do. There's Chris Jones and George Karlaftis on the defensive side of the ball. A couple of Hokies, former Hokies, Jamar Connor and Mansour Delane, lately of LSU, former Virginia Tech Hokie, are in the back end of that defense after losing 2 of their all-world cornerbacks that vaunted for greener pastures. And so I think that they got a lot of work to do to kind of show up this thing. And they're an older football team, Rick. It's one of those where they've been, let's kind of run this thing back. Let's run this thing back. They got to put some pieces in place to make it happen. I think the other part of it is they better be solid up front. Talk about great centers. Creed Humphrey as a great center. You talk about what we were talking about with Linderbaum and Mendoza for the Raiders. There's Creed Humphrey that can also be solid up front for Mahomes. To me, Rick, they're coming off of a 6-11 season, and the schedule makers love themselves some Chiefs. They're going to open up with your boys on Monday night, the first game of the season. So they'll open up there. Shame for you guys have to go on the road. I mean, did you all wasn't that y'all that were knocking on the door, or was that the Chiefs? But again, but here's my deal with that, though. It's a chance to get one early. Sneak in there, get that win early, get 1-0 in the division, get that road game out the way. The return game for you all against them is, let's see, when is that? You guys will play them again in November, actually. So it's not even, like November 1st. And that'll be a 4:25 CBS game. So for the Chiefs, the sun rises and sets on Mahomes. Can the receivers get healthy? Is the defense too old to replace some of those back end guys? It's a lot of young guys back there. So there's the Chiefs in a nutshell, brother.
Yeah, and it's going to be interesting. You mentioned it, but the Kenneth Walker thing is going to be the thing to watch for me, along with Mahomes' health, because he wasn't even the best back in Seattle much of the regular season. They didn't do anything at all to try to keep him, despite the fact he got Super Bowl MVP, and yet the Chiefs gave him that first monster free agency contract, the very first couple hours of free agency. So
right out the gate.
And if he does provide what they need, it's going to help Mahomes a lot. We'll see. That's going to be interesting to see who was right, Seattle or the Chiefs, about that guy. We'll see.
Yeah, I think too, Rick, because Kansas City hasn't been a run-first football team.
Ever.
But don't you feel like some of that had to do with the fact that they knew that Mahomes isn't going to be himself, and we're going to have to reestablish ourselves?
Yeah, it is.
If you and I know that, won't the league know that too? So,
absolutely.
So they won't surprise anybody. So now they got to be really good at the very thing that we all know they're going to try to do. So that's going to be the challenge, is not surprise anybody and see if they can still pull it off. Yep.
Well, who's left? That only leaves one team, I believe, and it might be those guys back there on the wall, huh?
Orange and blue. Well, maybe the Knicks. Maybe the Knicks orange and blue omen will be a good omen for you.
There you go. Maybe
one can only hope, right? Maybe that's what'll happen. So, yeah, those Denver Broncos, those 14-3, number 1 overall seed Denver Broncos. That guy right there, that host right there, was so skeptical on all year long. Come on, Rick, they're winning. Come on, Rick, they're doing fine. Rick, take the wins. Well, again, but boy, if you're a fan of a team, and say I'm a Knicks fan too. So, the whole time I had no confidence that they were going to win the championship. None. My lying eyes was trying to convince me the whole time, bro, they're playing better than the Spurs. But when you're with a team, all you see are the warts. All you see are the flaws, right? But the Denver football team last year, Rick, showed a lot like the Knicks. I am convinced that had Bo Nix been healthy, like not hurt at all, I don't think they lose the New England game for sure.
No, they don't.
Now, the Seattle game, that would have been, at that particular point, throw it up and see what happens. Throw it up and see what happens.
Yeah.
I believe that at that particular point, they would have felt a lot more confidence. Your defense was playing phenomenal football for most of the season last year. I think the country started to embrace that deal. I think they started to like him. I think that they started to feed off of that. And so now the question is, and it looks like your boy Bo, Rick, and you can chime in on this because you're going to know him better than anybody. Looks like he's on track to be okay, right? Look like he's over all that stuff.
Yeah,
right?
He looked good in the mini camp. He's running around. They did some drills. Yeah, I think the surgeries, the doctor said that's the first time that ankle's been healthy really since his first year at Oregon. So
really,
yeah. So
wow,
maybe that he's a guy that he's got some escapability, man. He can run. So I think he's going to be okay. Hopefully,
I think hopefully he'll be good. So, and then of course you got Jarrett Stidham as his backup, and Sam Ehlinger is the third string quarterback there. And I like to talk not a lot about these quarterbacks, but it's not a matter of if you're going to need them, but when you're going to need them.
When you're going to need them,
you're going to need some quarterback play so that the team doesn't fall completely off the rails. Rick, I think you're a J.K. Dobbins fan. I believe you're pretty solid with him.
Yeah, I think he's stay healthy. Okay. Yeah.
Well, it's been his thing. It's been his thing. Yeah, you can't count on him. I mean, it's the same thing with the Ravens. He's just I think he was with the Chargers for a year too.
Yes. Yeah, got hurt. And got hurt twice.
He just gets banged up a lot. But I will tell you what, the key to you guys is the offensive line, so you can throw the ball to these guys on the outside. You're welcome, Jalen Waddle. You're totally welcome. Have fun with our boy. Make it worth your while. Camp. I don't need the videos texted to me too much more, my good friend. Looky.
Hey, look at that.
I don't need them all the time, but I'm no shade, man. Listen, we're blowing it up. You better take him and have fun with him. I'm a fan of his. Even with Tyreek Hill, I always thought he was such a good asset to have. You know, he's a pretty much a low maintenance guy, right? He's just does his job, and I'm hearing that great reports not just from you but from others, and of course I'm an Evan Ingram fan too. I like Evan Ingram, another guy that's been banged up throughout the years, but Evan Ingram's going to be solid for you as a tight end too, Rick. Up front, I don't know the names as much, and kind of back in the day when the Denver linemen never spoke anyway, back in the Mark Schlereth days, those guys were anonymous. Yeah. They refused to talk. Less is more when it comes to offensive linemen. The question for me is are they going to be enough to make sure that Bo stays upright? And then the other part of Bo is take care of yourself too. Know when to get down, not to the point where he's like Jackson Dart or anything, but Bo understands after seeing that last year. Again, I said this earlier. It starts with you and it's going to end with you. If you're healthy enough to be there, fine. Now, I'm not saying that he hurt his ankle because of recklessness. That's something that was there for forever. But I think he recognizes the importance of making sure that he's okay. Now, Rick, I don't even have to talk about the defense. You still got your boy coordinating Vance, and you've got a defense that I think is going to be good. I don't know that you had to move a lot of pieces. And as long as you got Patrick Surtain on one side of the field on the back end, that's going to tilt the field in your favor anyway. He is an absolute fantastic football player. I mean, he's a defensive player of the year, for goodness sake, at a cornerback position. I just really like him. Nick Bonito. You've got guys in there that's going to do a great job, Rick. Now, the fact now, though, is that everybody knows now kind of what you do. And so to me, the league always thrives on these kinds of things. Now that you've done it, everyone's got the secret sauce to what you do. What is your next chess move to counter the move that they're going to try to make to stop some of the stuff that you do as y'all run your base 3-4 defense? It's going to be real interesting to see how things move along. And so the Denver Broncos, 14-3 last year, the only banana peels you guys found week 2 at Indy by 1, and week 3 to the Chargers by 3. And then you guys went on a run until you got to Jacksonville in week 16. I didn't think you were ever going to lose again. Mm-hmm. And so now some of the pundits will say, well, how was the schedule? Well, you beat Dallas by 20. You beat Houston by 3. You beat the Chiefs both times last year. And so to me, all you can do is play who you have, Rick. That's all you can do is play who you have.
That's right.
And now the youth movement, the young quarterback, all that's over now. So now you're an experienced football team. You've been through the wars, and I know Sean Payton is not going to sit on his laurels. He's probably had everybody forget about everything from last year, starting when July camp starts. He's going to be angry as always, cursing and yelling and getting everybody going. And I think he just re-upped his deal, if I'm not mistaken. I think he just re-upped his deal. He's not going anywhere willingly unless it doesn't go well. So the other part of it, I'm going to take one quick look here, Rick. I think we talked about your schedule early. Now you got to play the schedule of a 1 seed from last year. And so now you're dealing with at the Chiefs, home against Jacksonville, home against the Rams, at San Francisco, at the Chargers, home to Seattle. There's your first 6 games right out the gate. All teams that are contenders. 5 of the 6 were in the playoffs last year. So we're going to know right out the gate, the only team of that 6 that wasn't in the playoffs is at Kansas City opening night. So that's a pretty heavy lift right out the gate before things calm down a little bit when you then go to Arizona. Then you got the Chiefs again, and then you go to Carolina team. Carolina this year. So there's your game to go to, November 8th, right down in Charlotte, a Sunday, November 8th game. I believe that's when college basketball is about to start. If it hadn't already, that's probably week 1.
I think I'm on the other coast that weekend.
There it is. Scheduled. There's a little schedule tease right there. There you go. But I'm a fan, Rick. And so here's how I see the division. I see the Raiders coming in at 4. I see the Chiefs being at 3. I just don't think Mahomes is going to be healthy enough all year for them to withstand some of that. I just don't. I've got the Chargers at 2. I've got you guys winning the division again. Now, keep in mind, all these things are fluid relative to injuries and all that. But as I sit here now, I think that you guys are built for it now. And I think that the Chargers are going to be knocking on the door. I still think that the Chiefs I think they're an aged football team. And I think that the Raiders are just in the developmental mode. So I've got Denver 1, Chargers 2. I've got the Chiefs at 3 and the Raiders at 4 as we wrap up the AFC West.
Well, 2 things I'm watching. The development. One thing about Sean Payton, and we know he feels really good about being Sean Payton, but he signed the new deal, but he immediately gave up play calling duties to Davis Webb because he said the relationship between Bo Nix and Davis Webb is a real thing, and he recognized that it wasn't easy for him. So I'm interested to see how Webb, who turned down some offensive coordinator opportunities because he wanted to stay in Denver, has a chance to be a play caller. So, and this whole Jonathan Cooper thing is very disturbing. The more information that comes out is not very bad. He will not be back in Denver. And how do you replace that? I don't know, but that is
that's a loss.
A guy who was one of your captains, and for this to have happened and every time you get a new update, it's worse. You're just like, oh, my Lord. So how do they absorb that? I don't know. We'll see. But I like Davis Webb being the play caller. I think Sean Payton showed a lot of maturity as an older coach by just saying, all right, you go do your thing, man. I'm going to be the overseer, but you go do your thing with Bo, and we'll see how that develops. So.
Well, that always makes me nervous, though. A guy like Sean Payton, I mean, every time Sean Payton's offense is on the football field, this is what I see. Sean Payton, before the ball even hits the ground, this is him. This is all you see.
I know.
He's calling plays. He's making calls, and his plays are forever long. If you've ever heard any of his calls, they're forever. I mean, you talk to Drew Brees or listen to anything he's ever said. He talked about how you have to be a savant to understand the terminology of that. And Sean Payton is on the sideline. He is semi-maniacal around stuff. The moment Davis Webb gets a call wrong, you can just imagine it's going to explode. Now, I'm with you. It's noble that he's making the gesture to say, it's going to be yours, Davis. But I'm sure in the background, he's like, but don't you think for a second,
if this goes badly,
I'll snap. Because I think we saw that a little bit. We saw it for a different reason when Ben Johnson got the Chicago job in Detroit. Then Dan Campbell handed the play calls over to Johnny Moore. And that just went horribly last year. I think now Dan Campbell, I think he's going to get the play calling back, or he may have taken some of it back last year. I think that those are delicate situations. But in this particular case, Sean Payton has thought enough about it to recognize that's the case. And, of course, it's not like he's going to take his headphones off. He absolutely is going to override a lot of that. Hey, I need to see this here. So it'll probably start that way. And, again, I'm not in the headphones. I'm not with a helmet on. But I've seen Sean Payton enough to know that it won't be a surprise to me even if he ends up calling a play or two that no one will ever know about it. It'll still be Davis Webb running the offense. So we'll see early on because everybody's got a plan till you get hit. So we're going to see how it goes. We'll see how it goes.
Got a plan till you get punched in the face.
Till you get punched in the face. And if you've ever been hit in the face, like I know you have as the boxing guy you were, it does stun you for a moment, and you're like, oh, abort.
Oh, wow, that's right.
We got to change something up here. This thing is this is off the rails a little bit. So, but yeah, man.
Yeah,
yes, sir.
So what do you think, Denver? You like Denver and the Chargers in the playoffs? Chiefs too? What do you think?
Yeah, I like Denver in the playoffs, Rick. I think I like Denver. I think I like the Chargers. When we go back to the East, I think I like Buffalo, New England. I think I picked Buffalo to win that division. I like Buffalo, New England, so you only get 7 shots. I think Cincinnati, I think I surprisingly picked them to win their division. I picked Indy to win. I think 2's going to come out of the South. I think 2's going to come out of the South, 1 out of the North, 2 out of the East, and 2 out of the West. And so I believe that's kind of how I see it. When we wrap all this up, we'll see them 1 through 7, kind of give an idea of what we think is going to happen once we go through the NFC. But yeah, I think the Chargers will come out of it. Now, again, to say that the Steelers aren't going to be in the playoffs, and to see the fact that the Chiefs aren't in the playoffs is a bit of a stretch for those that have been watching for a while. But we watched the playoffs without the Chiefs last year.
I know.
And it went on without them. Listen,
that's right. Yeah. What do you know, NFL? Look at that.
They didn't cancel. They didn't cancel. There was 130 million people watching the Super Bowl. So the greatest sporting event ever. So from that standpoint, I feel really good about what I think your boys are going to do now. Now, next week, we'll start to get into the NFC East, and we'll do that for 4 weeks. That'll lead us right into training camp. As a matter of fact, if I'm not mistaken, by the time we finish the NFC West on July 23rd, I think most camps will start to open by the time the next week happens.
Yes.
And so that kind of leads us right into it perfectly. My take on all that is who can survive the carnage from July to September. Just get these guys through, because it always pains me week 1 when you start to hear these guys, soft tissue this, and this guy's out with that. You gotta football's hard, Rick. I don't have to tell you, and all the guys that you have on your show, as much football as you played, you can't get better at football by not playing it. You gotta get hardened up through the hitting. You gotta get hardened up. And for all of us that did, my level was high school. It was hot and hard in high school, for what we thought it should be. I mean, it was hard, I'm told NFL practices are incredibly difficult, even through the season. I heard Chris Carter say on the show once that, NBA guys, once the basketball season starts, their practices are a lot of walkthroughs and that kind of thing. NFL is not that way. They say NFL on Wednesdays, a lot of times, especially early in the season, that it's a lot of work. You've got physicality in the sport. It's a non-compromising league that requires a whole lot. It's made of a bunch of men, man. Even the people who you don't think are great, they're tougher than you are. I can promise.
Absolutely.
They're tougher than you are.
There's no cowards in that league. There's no cowards in that league.
And Rick, there's no cowards in that league, and there's no free lunch in that league. Again, you and I will do games throughout the year. We'll see a week and we'll go, but I'm always reminding people, watch the games. Watch the football games. There will be a game that will come up as something you did not expect to happen, whether it be closer than you thought or whether a surprise team will blow someone out. I remember years ago when the Patriots were at their peak, that Buffalo beat them like 31-0 opening game or something like that. That was with Brady and all of them. They're like, Buffalo at that point should not have been relevant compared to the Patriots, but they beat them to sleep in that particular game. I mean, Miami was terrible last year. Atlanta was playing well. How did Miami go to Atlanta and win that game like 30-8? It makes no sense. Well, they're pros too. Everybody's getting paychecks, and so the league it's why I love it so much. Is every week it can be anything that you did not expect to happen, and it makes it the greatest sport in the world. And 3 hours of combat on a gridiron is going to be interesting. And so, Rick, here's one takeaway too that you've been mentioning that I'll be interested to see. The next time the players deal comes up, I think it's in 2031. If there's not more grass fields after this soccer event, I'll be surprised. I think they're already leaning into it really hard and kind of saying, y'all didn't seem to have no problem putting this grass down.
I know.
And I think now they can't hide behind it anymore.
They can't lie about it. Exactly.
Can't hide behind it. So, no, I think that's what's going to happen.
And you hear all these, and they're, these mega superstars in soccer talking about the grass surface and how it's extended their careers. And I'm like, all right, what are we doing? Can we just stop? Can we just stop?
Don't you feel that in about 5 years or 10 years, when everybody has grass again, and by the way, I was wrong. Buffalo, I think, does have grass now. I think it's like a heated surface. Did
they put grass in there?
I thought I saw that somewhere. We're going to find that out soon enough. I think
that's great news. Good.
That would be great news. So they're going to prove to you that even in the Northeast, the North Northeast. I mean, Buffalo, for goodness sake, where snow is inevitable.
You're not getting.
Well, I mean, Green Bay's got grass, for goodness sake. If anybody needed turf, it would be Green Bay. They're not doing it. So you can't say it's climate only, you know. So the Patriots up there with that frozen hard brick surface they're dealing with. Baltimore changed back over to grass. Washington plays on grass. I think it's just a matter now of you can't hide behind it now. Say if it's good enough for them, it should be good enough for us. And so my guess is, and hearing Mike Florio talk about it, he says the NFL is going to want something back in return because they always do. They always want to barter. They always want to barter. What are you willing to give up? It's like, bro, we're trying to lengthen our careers and be out here on this football field to perform for you. And you're putting us out here on these rugs that we don't have to be on. Now, I mean, again, I feel differently about the high schools in the communities where they don't have the funding necessarily to get these fields fixed all the time. But then I'll go to a place like Pulaski County, which has one of the greatest grass fields in the world. And it's cold in the New River Valley in November and December. And guess what? Grass grows every year. They seem to figure it out just fine. So again, whichever way you want to play it, we can spin it. But so I'm kind of interested to see how that thing plays out.
All right. Now listen to the players, at least this once, owners. If you don't want to listen to anything else they say, they know which service they should be playing on. Stop. Let's just stop this.
You can't fool them. You can't fool. You cannot. There is nothing to fool. You're gonna go to a field that you're watching a soccer match at MetLife right now on grass, and then in September you go to a game and you'll see turf back out there, and you'll go, "Why don't you just leave the grass? Why don't you just leave?" It's crazy.
It's the kind of thing if you think about too much, it makes your head explode.
It makes your head explode. Yeah, because it's like you're trying to con kids or whatever. It's like you can't fool them. It's like, bro, I can't wait because someone's going to challenge it, and I can't wait to hear the owner's response to it. Because they can't cry broke. They're printing money, so they can't cry broke.
I was going to say, they're all billionaires. Let's just stop.
No, not at all. Not at all.
All right, brother. Well, great stuff as always. And boy, we've had a lot of people asking about the NFC East, and we'll jump into those folks next Thursday. This will be fun.
Next Thursday, we'll see about them Cowboys. Will they go 33 years without a championship game?
Wow.
Something to that effect. At least 30. It's at least 30. I think they were in there. They won it in 95. So what is this, 2026? So 31.
But the 94 season. So, I know. I think
they beat the Steelers.
32
Barry Switzer got the last one. Neil O'Donnell with the gift to Larry Brown. That was the last Super Bowl that they got. And they haven't been to a championship game since that. Not even a championship game since
Amazing.
That is
just
crazy.
Amazing. It is.
Yeah,
crazy.
that is. And as much as we hear about them, you would think that they've been to 5. They have not even been to the
I know, right?
game since then. Jerry, man. Jerry's got us all fooled. Again.
Yeah, we have to check out. Wait a minute. They didn't make the playoff. Okay, good.
Now, think about how long that's been. Now, you think about 95. You think about Jim Druckenmiller was a quarterback at Tech during that time.
That's right. That's how long it's been since.
Come on, man. What are we talking about?
The Cowboys made the championship.
That's a long time, brother. Long time. So the question is, but every year, a lot of folks are like, this is our year. Our year for what? I mean,
it's the brand. That's what it is. It's the whole brand.
Maybe Rick, maybe they've seen the Knicks and maybe they got hope now. Hey, the Knicks broke a 53-year jinx. Maybe we can get in here. My goodness.
Maybe it's our turn.
Maybe it's our turn, but that's hope springs eternal. That's why everybody laces them up and goes to Thousand Oaks and watches the Cowboys, and they sell all this gear, and it's fun. It's fun to pick on them, and that's what makes fall of the year the greatest time ever when all these football teams
100%.
Start to get going. It makes it great.
100%.
Makes it great.
100%. All right, brother. Enjoy your weekend. Good stuff, man. As always, you're the best. You're the best in the business. Trust me.
My man. Knows. Appreciate you, brother. Can't wait to talk next week. Thank you for the time.
Absolutely. Thanks, man.
All right, bro. Yes, sir.
Right, there you go. That's the great David Smith. That wraps up the AFC. And again, you're not going to find a better synopsis of the NFL than from David Smith. Again, when you find it, send it to me and let me know, but you're not going to find it. He's the best. Absolute best. And we'll jump into the NFC next week, and the East will start out. And the Giants are better. Eagles are the Eagles. See what happens in Washington with the health of the quarterback, and, of course, the national institution of the Cowboys. Good stuff. Thanks to David. Dwight Vick coming up in just a little bit. And, man, I can now call him a stranger. It's Andy Bitter from Tech Sideline. He and I have both been kind of out and about recently. What's up, baby?
Not much. How are you?
Doing all right, man. Married guy now. So, wow. Yeah. Kind of cool.
Yeah. Busy times.
Busy time. And you've been, well, let's recap. First, how was Vegas? That's where you were.
That was good. I had a good time. Not lucrative, but it was a fun time. A lot of time at the poker tables, and it was a good short trip.
I love that. Not lucrative, but was that you and the fam, or was that you and AMAC?
No, it was me and Mike Neislick.
Oh, Neislick.
Right, yeah.
How's he doing?
He's doing great. Doing? He's got he's writing a book on Indiana's national championship season that's coming out. So I've read it. He gave me a preview of it, so I read it. Excellent book, entertaining, instructive. I think if you're a hopeful fan base, you can read that and go, "Wow, this is how it's done." That's incredible.
Well, tell him I said, hey, I'd love to get him on here to talk about Indiana because he used to be on all the time. So if you would, tell him I said hello. I don't have his contact anymore. So.
No, I'll give it to you. You can get him on here.
All right. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, let me know if you would. Yeah, hit me up. I'd like to reach out to Mike. Great dude. Well, that's awesome. And then you were up, where were you? You were in the Northeast, right? You were still traveling.
Boston last week. Yeah, quick trip up there. So Red Sox game. So the Tartan Army, all the Scots were all over Boston. It was great. Did some history stuff, Freedom Trail, and it was a fun time.
Is that your first time to Fenway?
No, I've been like 4 or 5 times previously.
Okay. Yeah, I haven't been there yet. I need to get there. It's one of the grails I haven't been to. So one of the cathedrals I need to check out. So, all right. Well, you were there yesterday at the presser for the new athletic director. What were some of your thoughts? The vibe, I know they were pushing across pretty strongly. What were some of your thoughts about the whole thing?
Yeah, I think when they were announcing the CEO position of Hokie Ventures, I thought, hey, they're kind of splitting up the athletic director position. They're going to just let the athletic director do, typical AD stuff, school stuff, and then have the business side person as the CEO. And then they hire somebody like Brian White. And I go, this guy's got business savvy. I mean, everything about him has been, revenue focused, generating revenue, fundraising in his past. You look at the things he's done at FAU to increase, donor support there, and you go, well, this guy feels like they hired somebody that has, business on the mind, revenue growth on the mind, because that's sort of the name of the game in college football these days. Is you have to, find new sources of revenue, get more money into the program, give resources to these programs so that they can succeed on the field. And, that's the big thing that he talked about yesterday. So, I think there's less of a split in that position than I thought there might be.
And now everything is there in place and ready to rock and roll, right? I mean, regardless of how it's going to go, we'll see how it all develops with him. James Franklin is going to be the authoritative figure throughout that whole department, but hey, that's there now. We'll see what kind of money comes out of this. That seems to be the thing people keep going back to, as you mentioned, is the amount of fundraising that he was able to do.
Well, I think when you have, the Invest to Win program, and you talk about a $230 million infusion of money into the athletic department, of course, money is going to be the name of the game. That's what you have to be able to do. You have to be able to manage it. You have to be able to allocate it. You have to be able to find more of it. And, he has a history of doing that. I think that, he went into the room and all these business people and CEOs on the search committee, feels like his skills kind of lined up to impress for a group like that. He was at IMG College initially before he got into sports administration. And, it's a marketing job. That was about revenue generation there. So, I think just kind of his skill set matched up with what Virginia Tech was looking for, and obviously what Franklin was looking for, because if he doesn't sign off on this hire, it doesn't happen.
Well, going forward, now everything is going to be focused on the progression, right? There's no more questions about the personnel. President obviously has to come in, but the AD's there, so it won't affect that. But The next steps now are trying to get ready for this football season, right? In 2026, we're finally almost there, aren't we? To focus on the now a little bit. So.
Yeah, well, they still need a Hokie Club head. They still need to hire that, fill that position out, and then there's going to be transition in the athletic department. I don't know if that means, staff overhaul. I doubt if it comes to that, but it certainly means some shuffling around, new responsibilities. I bet you they bring some new people in as well. So this is kind of just the start of, a process that I think there'll be some reordering within that athletic department. And, that always happens when a new AD comes on. But yeah, I mean, we're 2 weeks or 2.5 weeks, 3 weeks away from the ACC kickoff here. Once that happens, that's sort of the unofficial start of football season.
That's true. Wow. Hard to believe, man. Hard to believe. We get to the summer and we think things are just going to drag, and then you look up and you realize it's about to unfold. It's crazy.
Right.
It's crazy. Have I had a chance to talk to you about the whole Sorsby thing as it's developed? Seems like you and I haven't talked for a few weeks.
No, not since he got a lot's happened.
A lot's happened. I wanted to get your take on all that as you were.
Yeah, I mean, it's the right outcome for his college career. I mean, you can't bet on your team and be able to play. Just can't. I mean, that's the red line that you can't cross with gambling. And listen, I'm pro gambling, right? Just spend time out in Las Vegas. We talk about betting lines all the time. I'm friends with AMAC. Like, of course, I'm pro betting. But you cannot bet on your own team.
Right.
And as soon as you find that out, he's got to be gone. It cannot happen. You cannot allow him to stick around and play. And finally, they got into the minds of the Texas Tech people that just not to push this issue anymore. They were fighting it, and they put out that 20-minute hostage video where they're sitting around a table talking about their justifications for doing it. It's like, you go to all these great lengths for this guy to be your quarterback. That seems ridiculous. Finally, some common sense prevailed, and they're just like, all right, let's go our separate ways and go to the supplemental draft. And then the NFL's like, we can't take you. That seems like it's kind of on shaky legal footing. But again, if the worst thing that happens to him is that he doesn't get to play football this one season because he was betting on games, then I think he should consider himself lucky. This waits another year and then he can enter the NFL draft in next spring. Like, fine. You should bet on games. You shouldn't have put yourself in this situation. So I'm not going to sit here and say he's a victim in this whole thing.
No, not at all.
I think it's interesting that the NFL probably chose not to deal with this problem by just saying, hey, we're not going to do a supplemental draft this year. You did too late. You weren't clear enough on your reasons. There wasn't like a clear line in the sand that you were ineligible in college because he got that injunction. He was eligible. They just decided not to pursue it. So he kind of put himself in a bad situation. I think, the Texas AG put out a threatening letter or something like that opened a door for everybody else to actually sue them. And that was the thing that led to him not playing in college. It was such an own goal by Texas Tech and the Texas AG that you have to wonder, who's calling the shots there. That was a ridiculously stupid thing to do.
Yeah, absolutely. It felt like common sense was just completely being ignored. The conference finally, stepped up, and that was the end of it. And we'll see. Like you said, I don't know if this is going to happen with the NFL, though, right? You're just canceling the supplemental draft. You don't want to touch it. Obviously, I understand that, but that feels like the players' union might have something to say about that. I don't know. We'll see.
Well, he's not in the players' union yet.
He's not.
So he can't. He can't be. They can't represent him on that behalf. And honestly, he did it so late in the process, and I think there's questions about whether he would even be eligible for a supplemental draft, because you have to be ineligible in college for that to happen, I believe. I think that's the reason that it exists. So with that not settled, I don't know how he can go into the supplemental draft. On top of that, who are people taking him?
No,
not in the first round.
Who would?
If he was a first round pick, he would have gone to this year's draft. I think maybe he'll play in Canada or something like I don't know. What other options are there for him in the fall? But I think he'll just have to play somewhere else right now if he wants to play this year, or he could just train for a year and then enter the draft in the spring. But Yeah.
Yeah.
He put himself in this situation.
He did. He's not a victim. 100% agree. 100%. Well, Ross Dellinger yesterday reported already there's a lawsuit after this whole rule, the NCAA, the 5-year rule, the age-based eligibility standard, and the Ohio judge has already called a hearing about this after the case was filed. Your thoughts about the rule, the NCAA trying to exhort power for a change, and is this thing gonna stick? It seems like it's common sense, but we are talking about college athletics. So
yeah, the 5-for-5 deal. Yeah. I mean, it feels like if somebody gets flagged for holding, they're going to go get a court injunction. I mean, anything the NCAA does, they're going to get sued over. I figured they get sued. I mean, you can't open up a full extra year of eligibility for everybody and then put a cutoff line on it and say it doesn't apply to these people when there's so much money at stake. And of course they were going to get sued about this. I bet you they lose because they always lose, first of all. But second of all, I bet you they lose just because, again, there's so much money involved. You get another year, especially if it's a year on the back end of your career, that's your best earning potential year. And that's sort of how these things have gone, is every time it goes to court, the NCAA loses, the players get more power out of this whole thing and moves forward. And this is probably just the price that you have to pay to get the 5-for-5. And it'll be one class, and then you go from there. But it's fine. I didn't mind the redshirting system previously. I know it created an issue with this, play 5 games or play 4 games, then okay, I'm shutting it down because I'm trying to preserve a year. Now it's just, there's no upside to sitting yourself down for a year. You're not saving a year by sitting out the rest of the season. So, once the season starts, everybody should be able to play for an entire season and not have to worry about what their future is going to be and how many games they can play. So that's a good thing.
Yeah, that is a good thing. And it seems
I don't like that, this will probably affect NCAA records. Yeah, there's a little bit of history that you lose with this because all of a sudden you're giving players 5 years to play. But, NCAA records are already kind of screwed up as it is because they used to not count bowl stats, but now they do count bowl stats, but they haven't gone back and added bowl stats previously. And I say this because Ron Dane is the NCAA's all-time leading rusher, but he's not because they don't count like the 600, 700 yards he ran for in all of Wisconsin's bowl games.
Right.
But they do for the San Diego State guy, Pumphrey. I can't even name him. It was that on the
I can't think of it. I know who. Yeah.
But he has more yards than Ron Dane, but Ron Dane has more yards. They just don't count all of his yards. So, you're going to see that now with, 5 years of people playing. If you're that good, you're probably not going to stick around for 5 years anyway. But the possibility will be there for some longevity with some of these guys.
I wanted to ask you, too, and I had people that ask questions, and, I was out and you were out and so forth. Conference realignment seems like it's in a weird place. But what about, are we going to see contraction? Because of the money, do you think that might happen at all? Will we see leagues, as Coach Elmo brought this up, and you wonder how they're going to weigh that? Would that be legal? Do you think leagues are going to be tempted? I don't know who it would be exactly, but do you think they're going to start looking at the other side of this instead of always thinking about trying to expand right now? Will they try to figure out a way to get rid of some people?
Well, I thought that would be the direction. And now this Save College Sports Act or whatever it is coming out. And it's being pushed by people in Congress, and there are provisions in there that lock in the conference sizes. They say, what is it? Conferences with over $700 million in annual revenue can expand or can add teams.
Right.
First of all, I don't think that's going to pass because if you're a Big Ten or SEC, a senator from one of those states, why would you lock in the 2 most powerful conferences from adding stuff? But second of all, if there is any sense that this thing will pass, I think it might just ignite more realignment on a quicker timeline. Because if you're going, once this passes, we can't expand anymore.
That's a good point. Yeah.
Is there going to be a rush this summer with, ACC's buyout fees like $130 million, which sounds like a lot, but when you get $100 million from the conference eventually, it doesn't sound like that much. Is that going to force some of these conferences to look at pushing up their timeline for realignment because they're backing them into a corner a bit, and there's going to be an arms race between those two big ones who can lop off the most valuable commodities in the ACC before this thing would potentially go into effect. Now, I don't think it's going to pass, mostly because it's being sponsored by Ted Cruz, and I just think anything he touches is terrible and never passes and never works. And it's not a good idea.
Won't pass anyway.
Yeah, but I think there's some things within it. They're just not going to be. It's going to fall victim to politics in some of those situations. It's schools from their senators from those big states and obviously representatives is going to pass both. To get this law passed, you have to get 60 votes in the Senate. That's a lot. That's a big.
That
ask.
is a lot. That is. A lot.
I think the Black Legislative Caucus is against it because some of not even for sports reasons, for the redistricting in the South that has taken place that has eliminated a lot of minority representation. So that's something that just sort of falls victim to natural politics, that all of a sudden a faction that might have voted for it previously will not. So you lose any of that sort of support. It's a narrow margin to pass anything in Congress today. Plus there's an election coming up and nobody wants to give the other side a perceived win in any sense. Yeah. So if this comes up to bumps up against the election, I don't see any chance this thing passes.
That's interesting. That's a great point. Yeah. So this might actually expedite the certain teams. Could happen. That could happen.
The realignment always kind of kicks. It feels like news breaks at the kickoff every year or around.
That's true. Yeah.
That's always kind of it's like, oh, USC is moving. Like, oh my goodness. Oh, Texas and Oklahoma. Like that was the timeline of it. So
yeah, that's a good point.
This stuff is pretty stealth until it is announced. You never get a runway on these things. Like USC was a shock, and Texas and Oklahoma until I think it was a Texas Tech reporter or something like leaked it, or Texas A&M reporter leaked it. That was a shock. So all these conference realignment experts are like, I'm hearing this is going to happen. This is going to happen. You don't hear about it until it actually happens. And maybe it's some blind darts that you hit in the right spot, but it comes out of nowhere typically.
That's true. There were a lot of people that covered the Big Ten or in the Big Ten that had UCLA, USC. Really?
Oh. Maryland came out of nowhere.
Welcome. Yeah, right. Well, it's true. Watch you get down to the ACC kickoff, and all of a sudden they're going to announce we've lost 6 programs out of our conference.
I would be very surprised if that happened, but keep your head on a swivel. You never know.
Other stuff I had for you. Do you feel good about Tech's future being part of the in crowd now, especially with James Franklin, the money and the rededication, or is Tech were they already in a pretty good spot? What are your thoughts about Tech going forward, not being one of the have-nots? A lot of people are concerned about that.
I don't really know. I mean, nobody knows what the future, the Big Tent will look like in the future. Is this just the best of the best from the Big Ten and the SEC to form some Premier League beyond this? Then I wonder if Virginia Tech gets into it. If it's just another seat at the table in the Big Ten and the SEC expanding another 4 teams each. Yeah, I can see that. I think they're probably in contention for one of those. They're sort of right on the line of it, though, because you wouldn't put them in the Miami class. No. I don't even think I'd put them in the North Carolina class.
No.
I think North Carolina is an attractive option there. So how big are these conferences getting? Are you competing with Clemson and Florida State and Virginia? And Virginia is a contender for this within. I mean, you look at the basketball program, all their other sports. I know people will laugh when I say this, but academics I think matter in this whole thing, and the perception there. I think that certainly matters in the Big Ten. AAU membership, I think matters in the Big Ten, and I mean they're one of several teams that I think are sort of right on the line. So no, I wouldn't feel comfortable, and I think it would help to have a really successful football program again. I know Virginia Tech's not in the ACC if Frank Beamer didn't have that run when he had that run. And there were politics that were involved with that as well to get him in. But if they weren't in a good position to be attractive,
right,
no amount of politics would have been able to get them into the ACC. So there's a lot of moving parts with this conference realignment stuff, and I would be scared to venture a guess on it.
Louisville puts out a release that they're going to operate $30 million in a deficit for the fiscal 2027. How about that? Another school saying, look, we got nothing. We're just hurting already.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of schools are like that, whether they openly admit it or not. I mean, Virginia Tech would be like that if they didn't get the donations to backfill. I mean, you have a new now it's $22 million line item on your budget, and that is the rev share that you have to pay for athletes if you're going to fully fund it, which serious athletic departments do.
Right.
Some of these places already ran at a deficit prior to this because they could. You can't show up a profit on something where you're going to get scrutiny on that, where you're getting university funds and all this other stuff. So, I think when you add 20 million out of nowhere, a lot of places are going to be in debt. Now, I'd love to see the books. I'd love to see how they got to that 30 million number. This is like Major League Baseball teams, like crying poor. Like, oh, we're so poor. What is that tweet where it's like, I spend this much on groceries, this much on rent, this much on like Fabergé eggs, like $3,000 a month. It's like, please help me budget. Yeah. My family is starving. It's like, well, I think I can find some spots where you can cut some money out of your budget here. I think these schools have to spend a bit less lavishly on some things that they grew accustomed to. And I think part of that is, administrative positions and salaries. I can't feel too sorry for these. Brian White just got a contract for 5 years, $1.6 million a year. Yeah. James Franklin just signed for an $8 million a year contract that will eventually get him up to, I think, $13 million. I can't remember the exact number. You can't turn around and cry poor when you're paying these kind of salaries to people. And I'm not saying they're not important within the athletic department, but restructure some stuff. Some changes have to be made in terms of what you used to pay for these positions versus what you're going to pay now, because you have other costs that you have to factor in.
Yeah, that's a great point. Yeah, it's kind of hard for a coach to always talk about how we need more money, but hey, I'm good. That's true.
Well, yeah, that's the worst part about these coaches that rail against the players getting paid. It's like, you were fine when you were getting paid.
Right.
But now that other people get paid, now all of a sudden it's threatening college sports. Give me a break.
Finally, I got to ask you, what's in the water at Michigan? Is it now the dirtiest athletic program in the country? I mean, Dusty Bay's getting out early before it all hits.
My big takeaway there is that I just feel sorry for the beat writers up there. Oh, because think of what they've had to deal with. The Jim Harbaugh annual drama. He finally leaves. Sharon Moore, that thing was crazy. John Beilein, left for the NBA at a weird time. I remember there's a Michigan beat writer who's like, I'm going on vacation today. And then like 2 hours later, John Beilein left. And he's like, vacation is officially over. I can confirm that John Beilein is leaving. The Juwan Howard thing after that. And now Dusty May, that you get it. Yeah, they won 2 national championships in the 2 big sports in recent years. And it's just complete chaos. And he leaves. It'll be interesting to see if there's like a backstory behind it, if there's something more than just he felt joyless after the NCAA championship because of the state of college sports and the roster upheaval. It'll be interesting to see if he can get to the NFL or the NBA and be a successful college coach in the NBA. It doesn't really happen. Billy Donovan's been doing it for a while, but he hasn't really been successful.
He hasn't.
I'm trying to think of any other successes that they've had. Brad Stevens. He was all right. Brad Stevens is better as an executive than he was as a head coach. It's not a move that you see a lot that pays off for success. Patino, Calipari didn't succeed when they did it. It'll be interesting to see. I mean, he's got a pretty good piece in Cooper Flagg, but my initial thought was, man, I feel sorry for those Michigan beat writers. That's just brutal.
That's true. And a feel-good story, speaking of the NBA, Toby Lawal. It looks good to see that Tech logo there in the second round. And I know,
I didn't see, where did he get taken? I know the second round. Oh, he got taken by, okay.
48, yeah. And we had J.D. Byers on yesterday, who was there in New York with Toby. And when he said Mike Young was on his way, I kind of figured they get tipped off apparently in the second round pretty early in the day, a lot of the guys. So kind of felt good about it. So that was great to see him walk out there and be active.
Well, I mean, he was in the green room, so you had to imagine he was going to get selected or had some assurance that he was.
Yeah.
Because that's a pretty brazen thing to do for a second rounders, to go to the green room on the second day. And, get taken. He can jump. He's athletic.
I know, man.
You get on an NBA roster, and I think you show that kind of athleticism, they can probably find a spot for you.
Yeah, that's awesome. And it's awesome to get to talk to you, man. I'm glad you got a great time. Are you done now traveling? You got one more coming up? You good?
No, I'm gone for 2 weeks up until the kickoff. So, listen, there's like a 1 month, 1.5 months for me to get all my vacation in. Because, once kickoff starts, it's on.
That's true.
I'm actually going to the beach for a week after that.
Okay.
Once late July rolls around, it's on.
Then you're just here.
At that point.
I understand.
Yeah, can't go anywhere from August through April, but you get me in June and July, and I'm jet setting.
Well, I'll forget about the timing, and I'll bug you. So just remind me. Wait, Rick, leave me alone. Rick,
all right.
I'm not here. By the way, if you ever go, Emerald Isle is a good place. That's where we went for the honeymoon. That's
okay,
a good place.
Nice.
So keep that in mind if you're a beach guy.
All right, my wife is. So yeah.
I'm just saying, it's different. It's good. A good different. You would like it. I think you'd like it. All right, man. Stay safe, and maybe I'll talk to you next week.
All right. Talk to you later.
All right, be good. Eddie Bitter from Tech Sideline. The traveling man. That's a great point he makes about the changes. Maybe, the things are potentially going to get locked out. You squeeze in the extraction now, man. We'll see. The one thing that I think we've all involved to, and we have to just say this is the way it is we have no idea what's going to come down the pike in college athletics, because it's all nonsensical the very next day. I want to thank Lawson's Mobile Home Supply. Give James a call, 540-381-8011, 300 North Franklin Street. That is in Christiansburg. Parts for your home, doors, windows, whatever it might be. The NRV Super Bowl is where we're having the bash on the 18th, and it's going to be a heck of a lot of fun. We want you to join us. Thanks to Terry and all the folks at the Super Bowl. Don't forget this weekend, it's Bowling for Backpacks. It's a really cool program. Starting at 10 a.m., all the proceeds go to support the Stuff the Bus program. $50 for a team of 4 for 3 games, raffles and prizes all day. Donate school supplies to help out the students in the New River Valley. It's awesome. It's awesome. Thanks to Sundown Electric, one of the best reputations of any business in our region. Long list of satisfied customers, superior craftsmanship, attention to detail. Cost is always their consideration. Thanks to the Smith brothers. Bob Christ, the brother of the Hall of Famer Dave Christ, BOBCRST11@gmail, ReadySetFund.com. Check out the website. See how a series of text messages can earn you some money in a quickly nonprofit, but you can get the money you need to operate whatever it might be. Travis Williams, speaking of amazingly successful regional businesses, he's taken his dad's dream business to a different level. Year 40 coming up in July, and sponsor of our text line. National Bank member FDIC, the exclusive banking partner of me, should be you and this program. Ryan Price, the attorney in Radford. England's winning the question this week. We actually had 17 people say England over the U.S. It's tight. 701 West Main Street, Trust and Estate Planning. Little River Heating and Air. 1095 Radford Street in Christiansburg. That's Charles Lee, 540-553-2971. We're presented each and every day by Pulaski County Sports and Entertainment, whether it's the Sportsplex, the racetrack, if it's Calvi Park, if it's anything else going on. Just know that they're always working to bring more business and industry and interest to our area here in Southwest Virginia. McClellan Chiropractic is Mark Hundley, 155 Walters Drive. He's got the best practice going, and you need to go out and see him. He's got all the latest technology, and he can help you ASAP make your body feel a lot better. Family Fencing is the sponsor of our studios. Thanks to Jason Green, 540-200-8294, familyfencingnrv.com, and Brandon at Top Shelf Apparel, 4377 Lee Highway in Pulaski. Thanks to them for all their help. As there is our shirts. If you want one, hit me up, $20. We'll get them to you. Still owe a couple people some shirts, so I got to get with them. But there you go, BDST merch. Dwight Vick's going to join us coming up, and we'll get his take on these things and all these other things. You know, I'm sitting here thinking as things have developed. Right now, I am leaning toward doing the next episode. Oh, by the way, speaking of episodes, is I can't keep one thought before another thought interrupts the one I was just talking about. Tomorrow is episode 200 of this program on YouTube. How about that? Tomorrow on the Finally Friday edition is episode 200.
Oh my. Oh, no. Oh, no. That was out of nowhere.
Yeah. 200. But I'm thinking about tomorrow night jumping on and doing the next Big Dog Pop on a Friday night. And it will get crazy on a Friday night. I'll let you know tomorrow for sure. What are your thoughts? I'm thinking I might just jump on live, see what the hell happens. Tomorrow night. Not tonight, but tomorrow night. We'll see. Yeah, 200 tomorrow. Tomorrow's episode 200. Isn't that crazy? How did that happen? It is a milestone. 200 episodes. Wow. Tonight's episode. But I'm thinking I'm going to do that tomorrow night. And we'll do the same thing. We'll invite people on, talk all things pop culture. Movies, TV. Nothing's good in movies. Supergirl's about to be a major bust. Spider-Man movie will be huge because it's Spider-Man. It's the brand more than it is the movie. You're kicking ass, taking names, and chewing Red Man chaw. That's a lot of YouTube shows live. 200 is a lot. It's good. It's good. It, as many of you have shared with me, it's become part of your morning routine. It's now part of my morning routine. Like when I'm not doing it, like even on the honeymoon, I was thinking it feels weird not to be doing it. This is strange. So then it just fits like a glove when you come back. So don't forget, July 18th will be our bash. Coach Elmo will be there. By the way, Coach Elmo's on tomorrow. Mike Ashley's on the road. So we're going to have Will, Elmo, and Jen. And tomorrow I put the pressure on Jen to be at the bash. Tomorrow is going to be strictly nothing but intimidation practices to try to get Jen to come to the bash. I mean, she already owes us for not playing the sax. So I figure if you're not playing the sax, you got to be at the bash, I would think. I would hope. So, yeah. I'm going to use that bit of advice and see what we could do. But, going back to what, Andy and I were talking about. The group of 6 conferences like the Sun Belt, Mountain West, American, it doesn't look like they're going to be able to I don't know if this legislation is going to pass, first and foremost. I think it's probably going to run into a lot of issues. The $700 million cutoff. And to be able to tell these leagues that they can't expand the SEC, Big 10, Big 12, and ACC, that doesn't seem like that's going to work. I guess what you have to weigh now, just thinking about it, is if you are one of these commissioners, all right, this is the reality. They can get all the intel they need now about what these TV contracts are going to be looking for. Are the TV networks and the streaming services, are they going to stay that, more money is going to come in, status quo is okay? Are they going to ask for an expansion? That's kind of what I'm thinking, I'm going to ask Coach Elmo tomorrow. Will the networks ask for the breakaway? Will they say, okay, I tell you what, we've done our own research with our sponsors, with, viewership patterns, whatever it might be. You don't think these networks just sit back and wait for the leagues to come forward and say, hey, we're ready to deal? No. After all, it's the league's product that the networks are committing to. So they're doing their due diligence just like the conferences are. And I'm wondering if we're going to see a cohesion of the perfect storm, because I don't think this bill is going to pass. Not the way it's worded with the limitations, like Andy just pointed out with the money. It's $700 million, telling conferences they can't add anybody else and try to. Or is that just going to further perpetuate the desire from the SEC and the Big Ten to break away? You don't have any jurisdiction over us. Shut up. We're going to do our own thing. And maybe that own thing before they go out the door is, hey, by the way, Big 12, ACC, we want you, not you. No, not you. You, yes. You? Okay. I just wonder if that's going to be something that we don't know. Andy's point is well taken. We talked about this, and I've gotten it confirmed many times with Big Ten guy. Nobody in that league, and he swears up and down, was talking about UCLA and USC. They wake up one morning, and there it is. What? Yes, the Los Angeles market has been brought into our conference. What? But contraction makes sense. Has it benefited the Big Ten at all that Maryland and Rutgers is in it? I mean, I know they set record revenue numbers, right? They just bragged about that. But how much of that was because of Rutgers and Maryland? Are those TV dollars really, is that market really supplying like they hoped it would? That was the whole point. And they bragged about coast to coast, man. We got LA, we got New Jersey, we got Maryland, we got the Eastern Shore, we got everybody in our normal spot. We got the Midwest, we got everything but the South. But we are the Big Ten, right? But that knocked everybody for a loop. And when we hear about the next changes in the way the conferences are looking, I think I agree with Andy. I think it's going to knock everybody for a loop again. Interesting answer about where he sees Tech in terms of their fit. Are they doers? Are they haves? Are they have-nots? He said he felt good about it, but not good enough to put money on. Interesting. Did Tech have the forethought to look at this way ahead of time because they have an inclination from leadership in their conference? And I use the term leadership whenever I reference college athletics very loosely. Is that why it had to be James Franklin? Is that why they realized they had to get this money? And then, of course, make sure everybody knows the security of the $75 million. Let's get that out there. Let's go, go, go. I mean, I'm just saying, maybe they had a little bit of heads up. Actions tell you more than what anybody says. That's the way that it rolls. So these are good questions. Very good questions. What's going on, Mr. Flint? How you doing, brother? Good morning. Tech may have knowledge. I find it hard to believe that the schools themselves that might be involved in all this don't already have a pretty good idea of when it's going to happen and if they're going to be one of the schools. I think the Big 12 schools are keenly aware of all this. So, in other words, this doesn't just happen in a vacuum. This isn't just like, oh, by the way, let's surprise this school by giving them an invitation. These are conversations that are going on. You know, it's not how you do business. You're not just going, oh, by the way, hey, how you doing? Hey, what's up, Clemson? Listen. Yes, I know. This is Greg Sankey. Listen, we were just talking. We think maybe you guys would be a good fit for our league now. What do you think? Well, I don't know, Mr. Sankey. We haven't thought about this at all. This is just coming out of the blue. Give me a moment. It doesn't work that way. So if it does happen the way Andy brought up as a potential scenario, he didn't say it was going to, but a potential scenario, getting in before something prevents anybody else from getting in makes a lot of sense to me. West asks, do you think there'll be 3 big super conferences or just 2? I believe there's going to be 1. If you ask me right now today, which you just did, so I'm answering, I believe it's going to be a mega league. I believe it'll be 60 teams, programs. I believe you'll have divisions broken up into that. What's 8 times 7? 56. Could you have 7 8-team divisions? Structure and we're just talking football. Football. We're not worried about anything else. We're talking football. Eight times 7, 56, right? I mean, I wasn't great at math, but I'm pretty sure that's correct. 56 teams. How's that? 56 programs. Are you one of our division members? What's the branding look like? I don't know. I don't really know. But that seems to kind of make sense to me. Football or football? You doing walking? Football. Actual footage from Goldie Hawn. Football. It's the sport of kings, better than diamond rings. Football. If you haven't seen the post credits of Wildcats, it's almost worth it just to put yourself through that. The movie is terrible. The attorney, Ryan Pry, he's the attorney who sponsors the VST Fan Question of the Week, says, in my lifetime, I think they'll end up around 70 teams, but with promotion, relegation. So I don't know what the number's going to be, Flint, but I think it's going to be one mega complex. Will Virginia Tech be invited to the divisional party? Now, Andy's got me questioning that. Joining us now on the program, he is the quintessential source for all things Virginia Tech football. He's dedicated his life to helping his fellow man. There's no finer human being that I know than Dwight Vick. What's up, DV? Good morning.
What's going on? Good morning to you.
A lot going on, my friend. Yeah.
I hear Wildcat references, and then what is this super? I missed segments this morning. What is this super? This is about the super conferences.
Well, we got into a little bit with Andy, and somebody just asked me, and let's ask you. You have great insight. Flint was going, do you think there'll be 3 big super conferences? I don't. I think you're going to have a big number of schools invited into whatever the breakaway looks like, and then they'll figure out the marketing of it. I could see divisional breakdowns, maybe 8 divisions, 7 divisions of 8, however it looks, right? And I think the TV networks are probably looking at this and thinking about how this is going to benefit them as much as, the schools are thinking about what this next TV deal is going to look like. What do you think? How do you think it's going to look?
I think it may be like two big super conferences when it's all said and done.
Could be, yeah.
Just for competitive balance, even though that doesn't exist anymore in life. I think Tech will be one of the teams that gets in because of the changes they've made, their commitment to football, the money that they're getting now from donors, and having a credible coach like James Franklin is huge because branding for conferences really matter. I remember when this all started. Like, I'm like that guy. I like to sit on the porch. I remember when this all started. I remember when Tech went to the ACC. I was feeling complex because the Big East for years was a great football conference. I mean, this is when West Virginia was ranked. Syracuse was always ranked. Virginia Tech was always ranked. Miami was really good, won a national championship.
Always, right.
Boston College was tough with Chris Hovan and all those guys they had, the Hasselbeck, quarterback brothers. The Big East was tough, small conference, but it was tough. I mean, the battles, West Virginia, Pittsburgh was tough. But I understood the importance of going to the ACC, and I felt, as far as proximity and natural rivalries, Tech fit the ACC perfectly. One of the things I remember talking to Coach Beamer about back in the day, like back when I had a lot of hair, he talked about how I was so important for us to win when I was there, and Antonio Freeman, all of us were there because it gave us credibility. Even though UVA helped Tech get into ACC, the ACC was trying to talk about academics and all the different things, but the truth of the matter is that Virginia Tech was attractive to the ACC, regardless of Duke and UNC's pushback, because they played great football. Even though the year before going into the ACC in 2003, they underachieved mightily with a talent-loaded roster that featured Brian Randall, Kevin Jones, Ernest Wilford, and so many guys, Vegas Robinson, Darryl Tapp. But they came back in the ACC in 2004 and they won it. And then in 2005, they played in an inaugural ACC championship game. And then you looked at what they're doing now. The only concern I would have right now is we've had 4 winning seasons in the last 10 years. And those winning seasons have been 7-6. I think that you might have 1 10-win season, Fuente's first year. With that being said, that's horrible. But here's the saving grace for Virginia Tech fans. And Virginia Tech is a university. It's a great university, obviously. But it also has fans that drive and travel and support. I referenced the Sugar Bowl when we lost to Michigan in overtime, like 3 or 4 overtimes, because that year we met the criteria, wins and ranking to get into the Sugar Bowl.
Right.
We were 11-2 with Logan Thomas and David Wilson running the show. We lost 2 to Clemson, one in the regular season, one in the ACC championship. But that Sugar Bowl, if you can say what you want, minus Kirk Herbstreit hating that Tech got selected, that game ended up being a great matchup. That's when Michigan had the quarterback, they called him Shoelace, and Tech and Michigan went back and forth. Tech should have won the game. Everybody knows about not just the catch that Danny Cole got, so they were incomplete, but what I remember is if that offensive lineman, I'm not even going to say his name, doesn't false start, Logan Thomas snuck it in regulation and he scored, but then they called false start. But that's the point I'm getting at. Tech has always, I believe you touched on this yesterday, Virginia Tech, as far as winning a big game, hasn't done it yet. But as far as being in the right place at the right time, they've done it.
Right.
Minus, not getting Steph and Seth Curry. We pretty much have gotten the right play. Yeah, I mean, that's basketball. But but again, I mean, it's really about positioning yourself in to be invited to the party. You want to be invited to the party. You want to be invited to the party so you're not sitting, wishing and hoping. I mean, honestly, you do not want to be left out of this thing. You have been talking about this. We've been hearing about it, about these super conferences. The Big Ten and SEC have definitely been doing their due diligence. ACC, not so much. I don't know.
Yeah. That. Speaking of have and have-nots, it's pretty clear the ACC is a have-not. Let's just say it the way it is. Jim Phillip, their leadership has put them in a tough spot, and they're going to fall dead last in revenue after the Big 12 deals kick in this year, the TV deals. So,
well, I mean, I think it's reminiscent, and it reminds me of Virginia Tech football post Beamer and Jim Weaver, where they were trying to be cheap with facilities and doing more with less. It was like I was there on the team when the Merriman Center was being built and got built. My last year at Tech, the Merriman Center opened. And I remember at that time, it was a state-of-the-art facility. And I remember Jim Weaver coming in from Penn State, and he had also worked at Florida as an AD. And he told us as a team, we are not ready to win or play for a national championship. In 1997, he said that. 2 years later, we played for a national championship. Was that Jim Weaver or Mike Vick? I think it was a combination of everything. You had Mike, you had Engelberger, Corey Moore, Anthony Midget, the team returned. But I felt like Jim Weaver understood the assignment. He understood.
He did.
We have to get a better brand of football. Same thing Franklin's saying right now. So you have to push the envelope. But after that, after he passed, God rest his soul, and Beamer retired, we got stale. Like, we did not improve what we needed to improve. And it was egos. It was mismanagement of money. It was people maybe doing what they needed to do as far as hiring people they wanted, their friends, and that kind of stuff can't be good for business. Can you hire your friends? Can you have a sprinkle of nepotism in the athletic department? Absolutely. It happens everywhere. But at the same time, you ask any Dallas Cowboy fan, has Jerry Jones been good for your program since Jimmy Johnson left? No. You've been the most underachieving franchise in NFL every year.
Correct. No doubt.
Every year. And Jerry still thinks it's 1992.
He does. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So evolution and growth has to happen. I don't care how many donors you have. And I felt like Virginia Tech post Beamer kind of just was, we're a 6-6 program, and we do more with less. And this is before NIL. And this is why, if you remember, some of those major recruits we missed out on, we were trying to sell Derek Nottie, Josh Sweat, Jalen Holmes, all these 4- and 5-star players we were finishing second to in recruiting when they went to Florida State and Penn State on what used to be, where Penn State and Florida State And all the other schools saying, come to us. We have this. UNC, we have a contract with Jordan Brand. Virginia Tech was like, we got a good Nike contract.
Right.
It's not the same. And I think that's where we got left behind regarding branding. And then it did not help that the coaches we were hiring, one was an introvert, one was an extrovert, but neither one of them really uplifted the program when it came to brand. I'll give Pride credit. Pride did repair and fix a lot of stuff that Fuente damaged. But, branding is important. I think right now, Virginia Tech has had so much buzz this offseason because of James Franklin, because of recruiting, because he's got that little TV show on YouTube. I do watch. It's really good. He has done a great job of marketing himself along with the program. And you can say what you want to my old school guys and ladies, but this is how it's done. You got to make yourself relevant. It's amazing because we're very relevant right now, and we have been trash can juice for several years.
True.
It's amazing to me how every time I look on TikTok, Instagram, somebody's picking us to be a dark horse, and look at what Virginia Tech's doing, all because of what 17, 18, and 19-year-olds are committing to, right? That's amazing. We get these ranked players to commit, and all of a sudden we're being talked about. Then you get a big donation, but that's how it goes. Indiana, we had never talked about Indiana football this much
ever
until Cignetti got there and he started winning. That's how it works. But here's the thing, Rick. They were winning.
100%. And you said that from day one.
Yep, you could not come out. I swear to y'all, if they come out against Maryland or ODU and it's tied 14 in the third quarter, or we're down 8, I'm losing it. I'm coming on your show. I'm coming on your show and I'm ripping everybody. And when I rip everybody, I'm gonna rip it. It's gonna go viral for the wrong reasons. I mean that. Like, don't talk to me about. Don't show me all these clips of guys lifting and the vibes, and it's so different now. I've heard that for 2 previous tenures. It's so different now. How about we just get some wins? That's what we need. The super conferences will notice that when it all starts taking shape, because who wouldn't want a program that's a great university, a great fan base? When Tech is winning, it is the premier program in the state. It's not even close. No disrespect to JMU and UVA. When Virginia Tech's winning, I'm in the DMV, DC, Maryland, Northern Virginia. The Tech alumni here is insane. Like you look at the 3 times we took over FedEx Stadium, FedEx Field in the Maryland, DC area. So, yeah, I'm convinced that the program and the brand would take care of itself and be very attractive.
And that's what's left now. It's exactly right. The way they've gone about things, especially with the AD hire, they better win. It's about winning, right? Everything now, you've got everything. You've got the funding. You've got your coach. He's always going to market, especially himself. You got the recruits supposedly going to stay here coming in. You got who you wanted to lead the team. You got to come out now and get that done. And if you do, fans will forgive and not think about anything else, as long as that's a team that has, 8 wins, 9 wins or something in 2026. Then everything else falls in place. So.
And it's interesting, man, because sometimes you're right, too, by the way, but when you have a name and the expectations are there, unfortunately, in today's cycle of sports, the lifestyle we live in, patience no longer exists. So let me give you another example outside of Blacksburg. Everyone knows my cousin. He's the head coach of Norfolk State. Norfolk State University, NSU, a Division I program in the last 2 decades, maybe, I believe, I want to get this right, has 2 winning seasons. They have been a very, very bad football program. Men's and women's basketball, elite.
Yes.
Football, not.
Yes.
Mike comes in, and everybody asks me on social media, at the barbershop, at restaurants, hey, I know you're excited. Your cousin's going to do this. I said, be patient because he's got to change a culture and a program.
Absolutely.
And because it was Mike and Mike was a winner himself, people made themselves believe he was going to come in and make Norfolk State a conference championship contender.
Day one. Yeah.
And they had their worst record in program history. They only won one game. They were leading and they were tied. They had 6 or 7 games they gave away. If you watched them or if paid attention, they were up 10. They were up on Wagner. They were up on a lot of games and they folded. He had to fire some defensive coaches. So my point being is Deion, Mike Vick, or whoever, James Franklin, even though their reputation precedes them, you have to understand and look at their roster. This is the same roster that got boat raced by ODU. I remember when they put the camera on Pryde's face, and I was like, it's over. Like I looked, I felt awful. I love Pride. And I remember thinking to myself in my living room, sitting there with my arms folded, I said, this is beyond embarrassing. And my daughter just got her bachelor's degree from ODU, so I'm not shaming ODU. And ODU had a very good season last year. But at that point, between that and the Vanderbilt game, that shows you all the talk in the offseason, all the hype, this is the healthiest we've ever been. We were an incompetent football team. Our O-line looked like somebody before the game tied their shoes and cleats together. They couldn't pick up a normal blitz.
Right.
And see, the one thing I know about Franklin, and I tell this to my guys at Boundary Corner and my fans and followers on Twitter and my friends, no matter what year you, and Will Stewart knows this, Almation knows this, David Till knows this, a very or good football program team looks a certain way. I know what an offensive line is supposed to look like. I keep telling people, you have not seen a competent offensive line in Blacksburg in years.
Too long, yeah.
No. That's because the one guy got hurt. That isn't, don't say that ever again. And one guy should not throw off a whole offensive line. You had a ton of receivers and running back being recruited and no athletic offensive lineman. What is the athletic offensive lineman? Somebody that can get out his step and set and pass off a twist. Somebody that doesn't false start just because the linebacker jumps up in the B gap and we false start.
Right.
And now we're at 3rd and 15. I had one false start in 4 years. So don't tell me how a team is supposed to look when I know what a good team is supposed to look like.
Right. You played on them. Right.
I played. I know. So I don't want to hear, and that's one reason why I'm glad, and you mentioned this, I listen to you when I can, most of the time, every day. And you talked about how Franklin was brutally honest about, hey, man, we got a lot of work to do.
Yeah.
There were some kids, and still a few, but maybe they're going to be coached up this year. There were some kids in Blacksburg the last couple of years, that were, they were getting that debit card hit up, right? They were getting their money, but they weren't deserving of it. They were being overpaid because they shouldn't have been in Blacksburg to begin with.
Well,
now
yeah. Well, and you said all this, the night we had the Armageddon show after ODU. You talked about that. The 3 things I remember you talked about. First of all, you said, by the way, there's no way Brent Pry is the head coach after Sunday, and he was fired the next morning. But you said about, Rick, it's the ego. And you talked about leading up to all this. There's the egos over there. There's just too much of that. But you had mentioned all these things, and then it happened and what it's supposed to look like. And then it's going to look so much differently now because I know one thing, James Franklin won't keep people around if that offensive line is doing that. I mean, the one thing we heard from Mike Burnip was when he walks around practice and when somebody false starts, it's just like, it's like somebody threw a bomb on the building. You hear the whistle go, he slams everything down, and then here comes the anger. What are we doing here? And I'm telling you, that day I was really revealing. And I loved hearing it. It's what gives me the most hope for this year is when he said, folks, we're not a good football team.
Thank you. Thank you.
And I thought, yes, that's kind of like, how great was it to hear that instead of, we looked really good today. boy, I tell you what, we're going to be a factor. No, we're not good. We're
Yeah.
going to get there, but we're not good. So
Yeah, listen, look, I have a son who is currently D1 in the NIL area and getting paid. He's working out at Northwestern State right now. He left 3 weeks ago. He comes home a few weeks before the season, before school starts, and he's killing it right now. He's worth everything he's getting. But even though he's getting paid, he's working. You know who else heard Franklin say that, Rick? The players heard him say that.
Absolutely.
So they know. You know how I know? Because when Jim Weaver came in and told me my redshirt junior year, along with Derek Smith and Ken Oxendon and all the guys that were there, and he said, Corey Moore was there, Engelberg, he said, you guys are not ready to win a national championship. And that's not your fault. The facilities have to get better. We have to win. Because that year in 97, that was my worst record as a Hokie. We went 7-5. Blowout loss, Gator Bowl loss to Carolina, where half our team was injured. Nick Sorensen finished the game at quarterback. That tells you how bad it got. And Carolina was an 11-win team that had 6 or 7 first and second rounders, maybe more. And they boat raced us. And I remember thinking, damn. And Beamer came in the locker room and grabbed the stool and said, everybody's on notice. Everybody's job is open. He was pissed. He said, we lost 42-3 on NBC. He said, nothing's safe. Nobody's safe. I'm paraphrasing. But he went straight gangster. You know, he flipped that hat behind like I got mine. He was like, and that offseason we worked. And my longtime friend and ex-teammate, Gennaro DiNapoli, who played in the league, he was a senior, I was a junior. There was a quote, he said, if we played them 60 times, we would lose every game, right? Yeah. And Gentry was so mad. Gennaro said that mess and graduated. We were still there. We had to pay for that. But he said, if we ever hear that kind of talk again, it's a wrap. And that year, we went 9-3, finished 18th in the country the following year. Should have went 12-0, gave up 3 leads. But that gave momentum for the team that went to the national championship the year after I left, with Andre Davis and Ricky Hall and those guys. And then after that, 2000, 2001, they won games. And, of course, 2004, they go to the ACC. And then Tyrod comes into the building after Brian Randall. And so what I'm saying is what James Franklin is doing right now is not just about this season. The AD and him are going to be getting ready, not just for the Super Conference merger, because Franklin doesn't care about that right now. They're trying to get to that ACC championship. That's and I think the players this year are going to play like that. Even though you have some guys that might be overachievers, I think they're going to play for Franklin. And that's the one thing I felt wasn't going on prior to Franklin being there. I don't think in the 2 previous regimes, those players were playing for their coaches. They were playing for just playing. They weren't motivated. Like when I played for Stein Spring, Grimes, Beamer. You asked Keon. You got Keon. I was Keon, right? The hooper for.
Yeah.
He played hard. He was a hooper. He also played for Radford. He played for his coaches. That's the camaraderie I have not seen in a Bird where they were playing for each other.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, I apologize. I saw it one time last year, NC State.
Yeah, they did.
NC State. They played. I was like, oh my God.
What was that?
Tech team. They were, you know why? Because they were mad they lost Pry. They were embarrassed that their coach got fired. And they came in and they locked in that night. NC State was a solid football team.
They were heavily favored.
I told you though, I came on your show, Vic Adamas. I said Tech's probably gonna win that game because I wasn't sold on NC State being elite, but I also knew that they were going to come and play. The frustrating thing about that is, why weren't y'all doing that before?
I know.
Anyway, yeah.
And they never did it again. You know, it's like, that was it. Hey, we got our one. There's our one.
They got another one last year. I think it was the Cal overtime game.
Cal, okay, yeah. There you go.
Yeah. But again, it was like, wow, man. And even that should have went to overtime. We just were a soft team last year. I gotta stop saying we, even though I'm a Hope until I die, because I ain't on that thing. I ain't on them things. I ain't soft. I ain't soft.
So what are your thoughts? What are your thoughts on the movie Wildcats, by the way? You know Wildcats. We all all see
man, 80s movies nostalgia is legendary, man. Wildcats, Goldie Hawn, when she was racing. Yeah, man. That rap with LL Cool J, For the Kings. Look.
The rap's fine. I like the rap. It's fine.
The movie, a lot of movies from the 80s, when I go back and watch them now, which I do a lot of that, I recognize it was, poorly written or corny or doesn't make sense, but it's still entertainment, right? And it's still legendary in my eye. Not like Oscar worthy, but Wesley Snipes is in that movie. And she's racing him and she said, "You owe me a new stopwatch, when she throws it down." It was great. The guy hitting his locker with the head, the Spanish kid. The real big dude that, tried to bribe people, whatever. It was a lot of memories. Those ratchet cheerleaders that said, "You ugly, you ugly, UGLY, you ain't got no alibi." It's classic. It's the 80s movies were great, man. I mean, a lot of those movies, man, Revenge of the Nerds 1 and 2. A lot of movies from back then I watch and I laugh. But then, I will say there's some great movies from that time that always really, really, I'm like, man, this is a timeless classic. I think movies like Wildcat showed you in the 80s, if you had a decent script, some money behind you, you get a couple of stars, because Goldie Hawn back then was one of the women.
She was.
And you got her in it, but it was like, I remember watching it now, and sometimes in that movie they're showing the same clip, they're looping the same football clip.
Yeah, every time. Yeah.
I'm like, we just saw that same move, but it is what it is, man. Sports movies are hard to make.
I think
they're hard to make.
You got
I think because people like me and you and your people in the chat, we understand what it's supposed to look like, right? So how much time do you really have if it's 10 seconds left in the game?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I don't know. But Wildcats is a classic.
Yeah, this is all inspiring. I'm thinking about just going live tomorrow night to talk about 80s movies. I might just do that. I might just go Big Dog Pop tomorrow night, and then we're going to focus just on 80s movies. That might be what I do tomorrow night.
Oh man, listen, if I
do, I'll send you an invite. I think I might
send me an invite, because I 80s movies, man. Goonies, I watch. If it's on, I watch. I was watching literally 2 days ago an 80s classic. And I say classic, everyone, if you don't know what I mean, that means to me. I'm not saying everyone, but Bad Boys with Sean Penn.
Yeah, okay.
I don't know if you remember.
I forgot about that. Kinda.
He got locked up.
Yeah.
That movie made me realize I did not want to be in detention.
Right.
Guys were getting, first of all, in the 80s, man, dudes were 30, 25 years old playing teenagers.
Teenagers, and we just bought it. It was fine.
Yeah. Or in the 80s, man, guys would be young, but they looked like they were 40, man. Like,
I know.
I look at the Jeffersons, man. Lionel looked like he had done 2 ships at the shipyard. Lionel was
48, right?
Yeah, Lionel looked like he was 52, but he was 19. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, damn, Lionel.
He sure did, didn't he?
Yeah, man. Great. Guys, I love that time frame, man. That's nostalgia for me, man. The Jeffersons,
I love
Archie Bunker. Archie Bunker.
Brilliant show.
And George Jefferson going back and forth is timeless.
Yeah. Sherman Hemsley was a genius. So was Carol O'Connor, but Sherman Hemsley, that guy, oh my Lord.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah, man. The reason why TV and movies were so good back then too is because we didn't have this. We had to kind of, there was not that many channels.
You had to focus. Yeah.
Hey, man, I've been watching clips on Instagram, and again, this is not a movie, but this is TV. And I didn't watch it growing up, but I watched it because my mom had it on, but it wasn't like I wanted to watch it. But J.R. Ewing, if you want someone that's a savage, J.R. Ewing,
the boss.
J.R. Ewing of Dallas was the number 1 villain during that time.
Oh,
I mean,
what a great character.
Hey, man, you talking about Tony Soprano, and man, no one was more grimy than J.R.
Nobody.
J.R. Ewing, my God, man, he was a villain.
He was great. He's the only reason I watched the show. Well, that and Victoria Principal and some. But
oh my God, yeah,
and when he got shot, that's still the biggest whodunit that carried over the summer, I think, in TV history. It gripped the whole world. Who shot JR? Right? It was amazing marketing. Amazing.
That's what I mean about. I'm not trying to shame because there's still great stuff right here, like Ozark and shows on Netflix. But I think when I look back at that time, even now, minus those corny movies that we laugh at, the real true classics for everybody. The one thing that stands out is the writing with the TV shows. And
I know.
Like the writing was immaculate because it made you think. Yeah, it made you laugh. It was great. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
No. Yeah. Well, I might be doing that tomorrow night. So we'll see. I think that's going to happen now.
Yeah. Well, send me a link.
I will. Yeah. All right, brother. Great stuff as always. Hope to see you if I end up on there tomorrow night. But
okay, let me know. Yeah, I should be. I'm working.
I will.
But Thursday's my long day. But I'll jump on like I did last week.
Yeah, I think I'm going to do it Friday night because people will be off the next day. And maybe more. Because I had people tell me that it would help if I moved it to a day they didn't have to get up. So I said, all right, well, maybe I'll do that. So maybe I'll do that on Friday night. Yeah.
And, this is perfect because really, you got the World Cup for those that really get into it and other stuff, but tennis. But this is the best time of the year to do it because there's nothing really on.
Yeah.
This is the time of year I watch a lot of old Tech games just to kind of get myself ready for the season.
Get ready for the season, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I get it. Yeah.
So
yeah,
I'm down, man.
All right, I think I'm talking myself into that. All right, good stuff. All right, brother. We'll see you tomorrow.
All right,
sounds
man. Good.
Take care. Thanks, TV.
All right, yes, sir.
You think TV is great talking about tech? Wait till you get him talking about 80s movies. All right, so that's going to happen tomorrow night. We're going to go on 7 o'clock, and we're going to just go ahead and do it right now. All we're talking about is 80s movies or TV shows. If it segues into other stuff, that's fine. Big Dog Pop tomorrow night. It's done. Thanks to all our sponsors. Thanks to all of you in chat. Text line. Thanks to David Smith. AFC West synopsis. He likes my Broncos. Wow. I'm excited now. Thanks to Andy Bitter, Dwight Vick. Tomorrow, Will Stewart, Coach Elmo, and Jen. We'll see you on the Finally Friday edition. Remember, please subscribe, like, and share. We'll have a bunch of shorts from today's show show up on the channel. Please go take the time to watch those. Send them to people. You can share them freely. And we'll see you tomorrow on the Finally Friday edition. Take care.